A spring afternoon in Southern California sounds pretty good, doesn't it? Well, it gets even better if you make the location Long Beach on race day. There are few tracks in the world that are this close to the beach, and that's what makes this event so special. Well, that and places to view like this. So much to do and so much to see. And of course, the focal point is IndyCars. Points leader Joseph Newgarden is a championship winner, but he's never won here. The Penske driver plans on rectifying that today. Closest to him in the title race is Scott Dixon. The five-time and reigning series champion has had one of his strongest starts to a Long Beach weekend and will be fast today. But nobody was quicker than the Californian Alexander Rossi yesterday. Last year, he dominated the field en route to victory lane, and after winning the pole this weekend, he could well do that again today. The Andretti driver would love his face on more of the famous winners' plaques here in Long Beach, like multi-time victors Mario Andretti, Al Unser Jr. There are so many famous drivers on those plaques, including our very own Paul Tracy, who is proudly displayed there as well. As we welcome you to round 4 of the 2019 NTT INDYCAR Series. This is the newly named Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach, and we're in a special location inside the iconic hairpin trackside to get things going here in SoCal on a beautiful day. Hi folks, Lee Diffie, along with the man who's enjoyed success here on the streets of Long Beach, Townsend Bell, 4-time winner Paul Tracy. PT, I want to kick it off with you. What makes this event so cool in your opinion?
Well, just like the Masters today, this is the big one. Tiger Woods kicked off this weekend with a huge win, and somebody today is going to get a big win in the streets of Long Beach. So this is our West Coast Mecca. This is our Indy 500 of street course racing, and you can tell by the crowd here.
Townsend, Paul mentions about the Indy 500. The month of May is looming. Okay, does that put a premium on this event? Because kind of it goes twofold. Outside of the Indy 500, this is the one the drivers really want to win. But as part of your bigger picture championship-wise, where does this fit in?
Well, this is critical because I think the wheel of momentum, the big mo that's going to build to the Indy 500 really starts here at Long Beach. And we talk about the Masters. Last race at Barber Motorsports Park, we call that the Augusta of motorsports facilities. This is kind of like the Phoenix Open. This is party zone. This brings out the friends, the family, the freeloaders for the drivers. There's Hollywood sprinkled throughout, and that just adds to the pressure and the expectation put on all 23 drivers as they go firing down into turn 1 at 170 miles an hour. You can tell that some people are feeling the pressure and need to make something happen in turn 1.
And while the event proudly boasts so many multi-time winners like Paul Tracy, like Sebastian Bourdais, like the Andrettis, the Unsers, the last 7 years have featured 7 different winners, which speaks to the diversity within the championship, but it speaks to the passion and the determination within the drivers. They will tell you, as we mentioned, outside of the Indy 500, this is the other one that they want on their racing resumes for sure. So this is a tough one to get done, but over the last 7 years, it has been a real treat to see a different winner each and every year. The mayor of Hinchtown, James Hinchcliffe, he got one 2 years ago, but last year it was Alexander Rossi, and for a California kid to win it in his home state, that was certainly special, and he starts from a great spot today, doesn't he, Kevin Lee?
Oh, he has the prime location just like last year, and Alexander Rossi trying to become the first repeat winner here since Sebastian Bourdais won it 3 in a row, 05 to 07. We know the car is fast in qualifying. What about race pace?
I think it's good. You know, obviously being able to start up front, if we can maintain that into turn 1, the clean air makes a huge difference. So that'll be the main priority, but you know, I think the Napa Andretti crew's done a good job to make sure we have a good race car all around.
As a Californian and now a race winner, explain to us the significance of this event.
It's an amazing event. I mean, it's second just behind the Indy 500. If you look at the list of names that have won this race, it's very similar to the list of guys that won the 500. So to be able to cement your place in history with those names is very significant. It's a home race for me, a lot of friends and family here, and the motivation is very high to go for 2 in a row.
Alexander Rossi, certainly one of the strong favorites. Marty Snyder has another.
Indeed, the man who will start on the front row with him, Scott Dixon, a former Long Beach winner. And you and I were talking about turn 1 at this place. Is that one of the most difficult turn 1 lap ones on the entire circuit?
Well, probably because you've got a lot of time to think about it. That's the issue, you know. But yeah, you know, the car's probably in, you know, third and fourth, get a pretty good draft going in there. You know, also trying to decide which time, you know, which side to take. You know, the inside's very bumpy, but you know, low grip as well. But you also want to, you know, guard your inside line. So it's always interesting. One for us that, you know, you just have to make a split decision to get there. But yeah, hopefully we're in the right spot. You know, I think starting on the right side here, you get a nice inside line. Hopefully we can creep ahead, you know, on the 27 maybe, and outbreak him and take the lead. That's our goal.
There you go. That's the plan for these guys. And he talks about how tight this street course is. He said, you know what? It's out of control, but sometimes those walls, they contain me, Kelly Savast.
Well, Marty, as we've mentioned, 7 different winners here in Long Beach in the last 7 years. Well, Joseph Newgarden would like to make that 8 for 8 because Victory Lane has eluded this former champ. But Joseph, you told me that you maximized the car in qualifying, which was good enough for a 4th place start. How do you get by guys like Alexander Rossi, Will Power, and Scott Dixon?
It's going to be tough. You're either doing it in the pits or you're trying to make a move on the track in transition. So what I mean by transition is someone puts on black tires, maybe we go to reds, try and undercut them, or just chew them up on an outlap. Outlaps are really important here. You can lose a lot of time in the black tires. So yeah, you got to be good in the pits, good in transitions. That's how we're going to make moves today. I think our car's really good. Hitachi car's, it's felt good all weekend. I've been really happy with it. You know, we weren't quite quick enough to get the pole yesterday, but I think we got a great race car. So really happy to be here with Team Chevy, and hopefully we got enough today. 3
straight top 4 finishes to open up the season for Joseph Newgarden, Lee.
He'll be one to watch for sure. If you weren't with us yesterday for qualifying, the precision and the determination and the passion from Alexander Rossi to win that pole position, it was a spectacle to watch. So if we use that as a window into today's race, he's the favorite. Outside of that, who's going to take it away from him? Who's going to deny him that victory today?
I think you're going to see Scott Dixon give Alexander Rossi a hard time for the win today. And the reason for that is that Scott Dixon rolled off the truck here at Long Beach fast immediately. He's been fast in every single session, and he just seems to be on top of the game. He always is down the stretch under pressure, but outright speed so far in Long Beach has been incredible. And remember, last year's championship was between Dixon and Rossi. It was Rossi that made the bobble, and Dixon was the steady hand on the tiller.
PT?
I disagree completely. I think Dixon knows how to play the championship long game. I think he's going to be conservative. He's not going to take any risks. And Rossi has a little bit of urgency to get in the game. He's 47 points behind Newgarden and Dixon, and he needs to close that gap this weekend.
Well, furthering on from Kelly's story, remember that there are 3 Penske's. All 3 Penske's are in the top 6. That was in stark contrast to last weekend at Barber Motorsports Park. When we come back, we're going to tell you a little bit more about that man there. The 27-year-old who drives car 27. He grew up in Nevada City, California. We'll find out more about his story next.
I love Mario Andretti because it was the only time my dad would watch racing. See, my dad only watched sports that had Italians in them. He stopped watching the Yankees when DiMaggio left. He stopped boxing when Marciano and Graciano, they stopped. I'm through with this. I'm through with this. But I said, Dad, the Indianapolis 500, I don't care about that. Dad, Mario Andretti. Andretti, what you Italian? Hey, Italian won the race. Look at that. Now, when you do the Tonight Show, you don't really meet Batman. You meet the guy who plays Batman, or the guy who plays Superman. When you meet Mario Andretti, you meet the guy who won the Indy 500, who won Formula One. You know, it was impressive.
I've seen a snippet of it, Drive Like Andretti. It premieres here on NBC Sports on May 11. You won't want to miss it. It really is special. And if you've been to an NTT INDYCAR Series race, maybe you've seen Mario or gone for a drive with Mario in the Honda 2-seater, like Premier League on NBC's Robbie Earle.
Crazy driving right here, although everybody tells me I'm in the safest of hands with racing royalty Mario Andretti.
I was not prepared for that initial jump to just going supersonic fast, and then I was like, whoa, yes, this is really fast. And then it went faster. But it was so fun. This is something I'm going to remember forever.
Brooklyn 99's Melissa Fumero and our very own Robbie Earle. Robbie's gone from here to NBC Sports Group's headquarters in Stamford, Connecticut to do his day job. And when he got there, back there with Kyle and Rebecca, he told them all about it. Take a look.
Brilliant. Robbie Earle was scared in the simulator here in the studio a few months ago. Your head, I mean, explain to us about that G-force you were talking about.
G-force, it feels like somebody's banging weights onto your body and your head's rotating all that.
And you are fit and strong.
I enjoy my fitness side, but a whole new respect for drivers. I was in that car maybe 5 minutes. They got 90 minutes around that track. It's ridiculous, Rebecca, honestly, ridiculous.
Robbie played nearly 600 senior level games of football, so to hear him talk about it in such a favourable way and such a surprise is really terrific. And that Andretti legacy here on the streets of Long Beach continues from Mario to Michael and Michael's team, Andretti Autosport, and his drivers, because as we've already documented, Alexander Rossi, you know, for a kid growing up in California, just to race here in an Indy car is something, let alone get the pole and then go on and stand on top of the podium. It was a really special day for Alexander Rossi. As he said, lots of friends and family here. So what's his story? How did it all get started? Here it is.
My earliest experience of going fast would have had to have been the first time I drove a go-kart. I was 10 years old. Being able to go out and go full throttle down a straightaway for the first time was obviously a very cool experience, but also a very vivid memory, because as exciting as it was terrifying. There isn't any comparable thing to driving an Indy car. You have 4 to 6 Gs of lateral force on some of the short ovals. That's 6 times your body weight kind of pushing against you, and that's sustained for 2 to 2.5 hours. So racing in an Indy car has a lot of different elements you need in order to be successful. Obviously the physicality of it is one, the innate ability to drive race cars too, but one element that a lot of people kind of overlook is the mental aspect of it. And it's so mental because you're dealing with things in very short time frames. You're having to make decisions in split seconds at high speeds with a pretty high penalty if you get it wrong. The environment is very ruthless, and you're only as good as your last race. So you could be a multi-time champion, you can be an Indy 500 winner, and if you've had a couple races that aren't good, you know, people start to question kind of your ability.
Alexander Rossi, the Indianapolis 500 champ, had run up front here, had been leading here, a problem.
Alexander Rossi is finishing this lap with anger.
The mental ability to kind of have the strength to refocus and recenter yourself and kind of, you know, be at a high level of confidence going into the next event is a characteristic that a lot of guys need, and some are better at it than others.
He gets one of the best wins of his career in his home state. The Long Beach Grand Prix 2018 belongs to Alexander Rossi. That was a commanding drive from Alexander Rossi.
I think what sets IndyCar apart from all other forms of racing is really how good everyone is. You have events where the top 12 to 15 drivers are within under a second. You don't have that really in any other form of racing, and when you win, you know that you executed at a pretty high level.
He's an Indy 500 winner. He's a multiple-time race winner. They're the tags or the titles or the statistics. What kind of a driver are we seeing now in Alexander Rossi?
Well, you can think about those tags, but when I think about Alexander Rossi, I think about a thinker. He constantly thinks about this sport in the off-season. Really not a lot of distractions in his life, and out of all of that thinking comes tremendous creativity, I feel. Looking for tiny little ways to differentiate the performance of himself and his team from the competition. We saw it this morning, going out and scuffing sticker black tires just to help his outlaps in the race today. The way that he passes people in the previous 2 seasons, very creative thinking, finding opportunities where others don't see him. So he's done a tremendous job in this sport. PT?
There's one key word that I took away from that whole interview, and that was ruthless. And under that soft voice is a guy who's ruthless. He has no qualms about leaning on you, bumping you, grinding you. And he's a driver that is very unlike Scott Dixon. Scott Dixon doesn't play the game that way. He'll just outpoint you all year. So Rossi has no problems banging, roughing it up, and that's what really lost the championship for him this year. but it could win him the championship this year.
Yeah. So we'll keep an eye on Alexander Rossi. Of course, he starts from the best possible position. Try and get back-to-back Long Beach victories. This race was one that has eluded the Rahal family, but the Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan team is in a sweet spot right now. We're going to look in the rearview mirror because last weekend in Alabama was a very special day for Bobby's team. There's nothing like playoff hockey, and tonight it's a pair of Game 3s. Columbus went to Tampa Bay and came away with a 2-0 lead. You can see that game at 7 Eastern tonight as that series swings back to Columbus. That is Blue Jackets and Lightning. Then at 10, the Sharks clash with the Golden Knights in Vegas. That series tied at 1 apiece. So nothing like playoff hockey, nothing like a surprise winner in the NTT INDYCAR Series, and that's what we got a week ago. An unexpected winner who just happened to put a hurting on the field. It is the spectacular Barber Motorsports Park in Birmingham, Alabama.
Oh, we had a big shakeup in qualifying. Graham Rahal, he's going to start second, and Takuma Sato won his first ever pole on a road course.
Takuma Sato and teammate Graham Rahal on the front row.
Green.
Several cars jumping out of line.
Look at these guys locking up into turn 1.
Up front, Takuma Sato checking out right now.
We have the car of Max Chilton in the tire barrier. The car of Graham Rahal stalled on the course.
And once all of this front pack got through with pitting, there goes the yellow. Takuma Sato up front where he has been for the majority of this day.
Dream scenario for Sato. Restart, nice buffer, great race car. A win is right in front of him.
You're pulling away. Good job.
What a day for Takuma Sato. He wins for the first time at Barber Motorsports Park.
You dominated that whole race, Saku. Thank you, the Collins superb. Thank you.
It's been quite a fascinating start to this 2019 NTT INDYCAR season because Colton Herder in round 2 became the youngest ever winner in the series history at just 18. And then last weekend, Taku wins at 42 years old. And it was quite a seasoned podium with Dixon at 38 and Sebastian Bourdais at 40. But I think the theme here, PT, is variety. 3 different winners from the first 3 races. That's not a surprise in this series. We talk about here at Long Beach, 7 from the last 7 years. Is that variety theme going to continue today? A different winner again?
Well, I think there will be. I think Rossi's going to win today. I don't mean to spoil everybody's afternoon, but I think he's in the driver's seat, and he's got a lot of urgency to get into the championship fold up closer in the points. So that's my pick right now. But strategy here, anything can happen. I mean, the whole thing could get turned upside down with a yellow.
And Townsend, I think what it speaks to is the unpredictability of this series, right?
Yeah, I mean, and the statistics would prove out your theory to be wrong. I think that we will see another new winner, and I think it'll be a surprise winner like we've seen to start the season, because at Long Beach in turn 1, disaster can happen on the start, and it wouldn't surprise me at all to see somebody like Graham Rahal try to make a bold move. Ryan Hunter-Reay, who's been super fast, frustrated in qualifying. He knows he has the fast car, but you have to make something happen on the start. If you don't, you really find yourself in a hole. So Graham Rahal would be one to watch.
Speaking of Graham, he wanted 3 things to happen today. Have a look at this tweet. Maybe some of you have seen it at home already. He wanted 3 things to happen today. One of them's been checked off the list with Tiger Woods winning the Masters. The other 2, him winning today's race, and then his beloved Blue Jackets going up 3-0 in their series against Tampa Bay. Well, Marty Snyder, 2 of those are out of his control. He can only make 1 happen.
Well, yeah, number 2 is up to him, right? But I want to talk to you about your Blue Jackets first. How about that? I mean, I would say, no doubt, the surprise of the NHL playoffs so far.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's been really cool to watch, you know, just to see the effort they put in. I mean, yeah, everybody picked them to get swept, you know, and here they are. So, yeah, number 2's on us, number 3's on them, but hopefully it can happen.
All right, let's talk about the racing stuff now. Obviously, Takuma, big win last week. You guys clearly hit on something at Barber. You were quick as well. Is that something repeatable and something you can take forward?
Well, Barber was pretty interesting, actually. The 15 car and the 30 were completely different. In fact, spring rates, like he was like double my spring rates, and he was on pole and I was second. Now on race day, he copied my setup and off we went, so it was good. But I think we found something. I think that, you know, it's something that we can, you know, move forward with. But ultimately, our focus here today is get the Total oil machine in victory lane, turn our attention to Indy GP, try to keep this strong string of qualifying and good races going.
We heard Townsend say it a moment ago that he's the guy to look for this afternoon, trying for back-to-back wins for Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan Racing. Check it out. There's all kinds of places to watch from here at the Long Beach Grand Prix. Kevin and Kelly with more on that coming up next. Just a beautiful scene here in Long Beach, California, getting ready for the Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach. Queen Mary there in the foreground, and you see all the boats in the harbor, the beach as well. And look at that packed pit road. This is just an incredible scene as we get ready for pre-race ceremonies.
Race fans, at this time we ask that you please rise and remove your hats as the California Army National Guard, based at Joint Forces Training Base Los Alamitos, presents our nation's colors. Please remain standing as Chuck Lessig from IndyCar Ministry offers this afternoon's invocation, and UMG Nashville recording artist Mickey Guyton as she performs our national anthem.
Let's pray. Lord God, we just thank you for this beautiful day you've provided here in Long Beach and allowing us to share it together. We just invite you to be present in our race today, and we look that this race be a blessing to the entire community. And we ask you to keep us all safe today, Lord. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Look at that crowd cheering, the F-18s flying over. We're in a little grid walk here. There's Tim Cindric and Roger Penske, and it's just such an amazing atmosphere down here on the grid at Long Beach. It's packed. There are literally thousands of people, it feels like, here on pit road. One of the cool things is right behind pit road, they have these amazing suites. You can sit up there, you can watch right over where the cars are pitting, and then right beside these suites, I want to show you this. They have this cool lawn area. They're out here in chairs, hanging out, getting a suntan, enjoying a beverage perhaps, and they too can see pit road from right here. Those are just a couple of spots that you can watch from here at the Long Beach Grand Prix. There's rooftops, there's boats, there's everything you can think of. In fact, yesterday we sent Kevin and Kelly out to find a few cool spots here at Long Beach to watch the racing from.
One of the highlights of every season is a springtime visit to Long Beach. Next to the Indianapolis 500, this is the event on the IndyCar calendar.
Well, Kevin, I can tell you as a former resident of Long Beach, I live just down the beach here. When this event comes to town, the entire city really comes to life.
And Kelly, the key word is event. And although we're, quote, working today, we still went out to see some of the sights, like on the top of the Hyatt here. We went to the suites, turn 9-10 area, saw the hairpin back onto the straightaway. Fantastic views.
Yeah, the possibilities really seem endless in terms of places to watch this essentially 2-mile street circuit. And there's so much live music, food, entertainment taking place. I think a lot of people come to the Long Beach Grand Prix and never even see a car on track. But I personally love it up here at the Vista Club. It's pretty exclusive. We even saw Mario Andretti hanging out up here. And Kevin, you know what I just noticed? Pit road, just over our shoulders here. I'm thinking we could probably just call the race from up here. What do you think?
I think Marty could handle it on his own, and we'll be overseeing things from up here. We may or may not see you back down on pit road.
Well, if you guys stay up there, you're going to miss the vibe down here on pit road, but that's a fantastic spot to watch from. You can see all the folks here on pit road, and it's time to get the engines cranked up here in just a moment. You heard the guys say outside the Indy 500, this is the one all the drivers want to end. Start your engines next.
A blast by the beach, a roar by the shore. Whatever the Grand Prix of Long Beach means to you, it means the same in the motorsport world. A phenomenal event.
This is the race that you want to win on the IndyCar schedule.
They've been racing on the streets of this Southern California city for decades. But it was when Mario Andretti won the Formula One Grand Prix here in 1977, the world took notice. The story got even better after he won 3 of the first 4 IndyCar races when race organizers made the event the Monaco of American open-wheel racing in the early 80s. Today's stars have the likes of Mario and co to thank for putting this place on the map, making it what it is today. A must-see, must-win event. Outside the Indy 500, this is the one the drivers want on their racing resumes. And there have been plenty who have tasted victory lately, like 7 different winners in the last 7 years.
One of the best wins of his career in his home state.
Points leader Joseph Newgarden has yet to stand tall here, so look for the Penske driver to check that box today. Problem is, he has a host of former winners and hungry rookies who want to do the same. It's the Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach, the one and only. It's time for the fastest beach party around. It is the Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach. It's round 4 of the 2019 NTT INDYCAR Series here in Southern California. What a place, what a race, and what a day we have for you. And there is a Californian on the pole position. And weather could not be better. High 60s, just a slight breeze just to make things even more comfortable. And everybody is ready to go racing. It has been quite the weekend here on these famed streets with sports car action. Now it's IndyCar's time. And a young American leads the way, Joseph Newgarden. He's won this championship before. He would dearly like to do it again with a victory here today as a milestone in his career. 27 points over Dixon, and then Takuma Sato, last week's winner for Rahal Letterman Lanigan. He sits 3rd ahead of the pole sitter.
Well, Div, one of the most famous racetracks in the world, just about 30 miles south of LA. This is home for me. In fact, I could go for a whole California IndyCar championship. The weather's perfect this weekend. About 2 miles all the way around, 11 corners, winds over onto Seaside Way on the backside, then comes through turn 10. You round turn 11, the hairpin, and back onto Shoreline Drive. But what makes Long Beach unique as a racetrack, and it really is a great racetrack, is the fact that you've got that big brake zone in turn 1 and then a second passing zone on the backside coming into turn 9. And then there's nothing else like it in the world. Turn 11, so unique, down to about 35 miles an hour, first gear, and it leads right back onto Shoreline. It's got a little bit of everything, great atmosphere, and it's such a racy racetrack. You can make moves happen.
It brings out the best in the drivers, that's for sure. That's why they all want to win it. But there is very little room for error, and that is the forefront of all drivers' minds. Time to go trackside for the command.
Long Beach race fans, are you ready? It's time for those most famous words in all of sports. Please welcome your Grand Marshal, head coach for your Los Angeles Chargers, Anthony Lynn.
What's up, Long Beach? You guys ready for some racing? Let's get this party started. Drivers, start your engines!
A couple of drivers we did not mention in the pre-race, and two Team Penske drivers specifically feeling a little pressure this weekend. One is Will Power, who's had a disastrous last 2 races, lost 6 spots in the championship standings. He is now 8th. He has something to prove this weekend, but not more to prove than Simon Pagenaud, who for the first time all year long qualified in the Firestone Fast 6. In fact, in the media center afterwards, he was asked, where you been all year? He said, I've been here, and I'm still a champion. Simon Pagenaud wants to show the field he can get back to victory lane, Kevin.
Marty, how about this bird's eye view as the cars get ready to peel off? Ryan Hunter-Reay loves this place. He met his wife, Becky, here his win in 2010, cemented the relationship with Andretti Autosport, but awful luck since, average of 18th in the last 6. The car is good, and he's got 2 sets of the preferred sticker red tires, Kelly.
Kevin, row 5 features a couple of standout rookies, the SoCal kid, Colton Herder, and the young Mexican Patricio Award, both experiencing the streets of Long Beach for the first time ever. Herder felt good after qualifying, but great after being fastest in morning warm-up. He looks to move forward. And for Pato Award, he told me is absolutely wringing the neck of his Chevy-powered machine. He's gunning for a top 5 finish today, Robin Miller.
Well, Felix Rosenquist is back in 12th. Don't let his qualifying fool you. He was one of the fastest cars during the day. He had a great lap. It's probably going to put him in the Fast 6. Then he stuffed it on lap 2. This kid has won the Macau Grand Prix twice, which is this massive street race for Formula 3, and he's shown how good he is on street courses to start the season at St. Pete. So he's starting 12th. Guys have won from this far back, and guess what? He thinks he goes 10 tenths all the time. He says, I'm going to have to go 11 tenths today. Lee Diffie.
Yeah, that was a big moment for the young Swedish rookie. So some body damage, suspension damage, and they also did an engine change on that car overnight. That was quite the ride. So is this. The man who put this race on the map, Mario Andretti, is taking Cien Fleming for a ride. Cien featured in season 22 of The Bachelor with Ari Leindyke Jr., and Ari Jr.'s here. How is it, Cien?
Oh my God, yes! Yes! This is insane! This is insane! Wow, I can't believe this. Thank you!
Enjoy the rest of the ride. We're glad that you are having so much fun, and not many have had that opportunity to ride around here with Mario Andretti. Quick break, and then we're going to get things rolling here. It's time to bring the action next. Cars roll here in Long Beach, and it's time to take a look at how they'll line up with the Acura starting grid. And for the 5th time in his career and back-to-back here at Long Beach, Alexander Rossi gives himself the best possible chance of winning by starting from the pole. Ryan Hunter-Reay, you heard Kevin talk about him. He starts on row 4, former winner here alongside last week's winner. And then some of the rookies, Santino Ferrucci. He can't believe how wild this track is. And the 3-time winner, Sebastian Bourdais, starts right alongside him. Tony Kanaan, the veteran, had a big crash in qualifying yesterday. He's limping, he's got a sore back, but he is going to start his 304th consecutive NTT INDYCAR Series race. We've got plenty of onboards for you. The Gainbridge onboard, giving us a look at what Zach Veach will do today in his Andretti Autosport Honda. Max Chilton gives us this view with thanks to Gallagher. He felt he had a really good result coming last week. Maybe it can be this week, but he'll have to dig deep. James Hinchcliffe with thanks to Lucas Oil. Hinch is going to have to dig from the teens. David Yerman's providing this view of Santino Ferrucci, his first IndyCar race here on the streets of Long Beach. And another rookie, Felix Rosenquist, gives us the NTT data view. Big crash yesterday, we showed you that, but the car's ready to go, and so is he. And then AutoNation supplies us the view of Captain America, Ryan Hunter-Reay. He desperately wants to win this one again, and Graham Rahal would like to win it for the first time. He's carrying the helmet cab with thanks to Total, and then Alexander Rossi, the pole man, with thanks to AutoNation. Is he going to get the best possible start that he wants? It's round 4. We're in the California sunshine, and there's a state native on the pole position. Dixon and Rossi. Dixon tucks in behind him straight away. Power gets ahead of Newgarden at the jump, and here comes the yellow and red DHL Honda of Ryan Hunter-Reay. But look at the front, wheel to wheel. Dixon's trying to take the fight to Rossi, but Rossi will get the turn 1 first.
Dixon backed out, found a gap, tucks in behind Rossi. Further back, Hunter-Reay side by side, it looks like, with Simon Pagenaud, who struggled there coming down shoreline. Good clean start, but it was Rossi with the jump.
Rossi got a nice jump, pulled out a little bit of a lead on Dixon. Dixon tucked into the draft. as we look at Colton, and Pato Award has gotten by him. But Dixon tried to make the move down the outside, but played it smart. Rosenquist down the inside for Marco.
Problems for Spencer Piggott.
Bad weekend gone worse. He started dead last, and he spun out 2 cars. Oh, so we got a wreck at the second corner here.
Jack Harvey on the right in the Auto Nation Sirius XM Acura, and he's tangled with Marcus Ericsson. 3 cars in trouble on the opening lap after what was a clean start, and Jack Harvey finds himself up in the garden bed at the iconic fountain.
That's how you cut the grass, isn't it, Townsend?
I'm worried he's going to get a fine from the California Coastal Commission for native vegetation damage. That's, you know, it's one of the unique things here. There's no inside wall there. It's literally just a garden all the way to the fountain.
AMR safety team on the scene as quickly as possible.
Definitely nose damage there, so he is run into the back of Harvey. We'll take a look at it here further back in the pack. Nose camera here. It all happened up in front. Hard to tell who did what, but
looked like Harvey was rotated perhaps after contact from Ericsson.
Oh, big hit on Beach. That's like a 405 freeway log jam right there.
Happens all day, every day. Edge, let's see, I think that's Ed Jones. That's Spencer Piggott in the 21. Was into the back of Veach.
That was the first car we saw stranded. This is Ryan Hunter-Ray. Graham Rahal on the inside. Simon Pagenaud, that's his front wing you can see there.
Oh, they touched right there. Maybe some slight damage to Pagenaud's front wing.
And here is the start. So Rossi on your right, Dixon on the left in the orange and blue PNC Bank Honda. Good start from Alexander Rossi, and that forced Dixon to tuck into the draft straight away.
And I think Rossi was just looking in his mirror. The moment Dixon seemed to decel slightly, Rossi punched it. Dixon had a run. They were side by side, but I think Dixon realized there's a gap to get in front of Will Power. I'll just tuck in. And Paul, as you said in the pre-race, Scott Dixon knows how to score points and stay out of trouble.
So while the AMR safety team help clear up down there at the fountain, we'll duck away to a quick break, come back and hopefully see green. Still under caution here on the streets of Long Beach for the Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach, but we're within 1 lap of going back to racing. Beautiful scene on a glorious spring day here in Southern California. Let's head to the pits and get an update with Kelly Stavis. Kel?
Well, Lee, just before the command was given, Marty actually noticed that the nose was off the 2 of Joseph Newgarden. I checked in with the team, and it sounds like they've been having radio trouble. In fact, trying to swap that radio out literally as he's also firing the engine to get this race started. Since then, I've heard team president Tim Cindric talk to Joseph numerous times. I haven't heard Joseph reply, although they just did one more quick radio check. I heard perhaps a blurb out of him, so maybe there is a little sign of life. Radio issues on the 2, Marty.
There's all sorts of electrical issues here in Long Beach. Sebastian Bourdais and Craig Hansen talking about an electrical issue for them. Listen on the radio.
Okay, Seb, just to give you an update here, we have apparently some sort of massive electrical difficulty on our timing stand. We have no telemetry, we have no televisions. They are working on trying to get it fixed, but at the moment we are fine.
And Lee, you gotta love Bourdais' response. Yeah, let's go have fun and do it old school.
And they're doing it up front. We see green here in California, and Dixon's trying to go with Alexander Rossi. They've gapped Will Power big time.
He's got a great restart. He's in the draft. Townsend, watch him try to pop the inside. Rossi makes him go the long way, but he's got the nose ahead.
Good braking, Alexander Rossi. Went just that little bit deeper.
An absolute repeat of the start of the race. Dixon with a run, forced to the outside, but backs off, slots in. Playing it safe early.
Big gap on Power already. They have made a great restart. Rossi now starts to edge away by about a couple car lengths.
I think that's interesting that Dixon doesn't feel desperate, like that's his only chance. I wonder if Dixon's very, very confident in the pace over the long run of his car. He's probably thinking, you know, the easier way to get by might be on the pit sequence rather than to force a move on the pit track. There's Rob Edwards for Alexander Rossi on the stand, reminding them that overtake, the push-to-pass system will be active as they come to start-finish.
get 200 seconds of push to pass, which gives you about an extra 60 horsepower. By the way, drive-through penalty for Marcus Ericsson, avoidable contact. That was the incident for the yellow involving Jack Harvey from Meyer Shank Racing.
And Lee, to Townsend's point real quick, I think the patience you see from Scott Dixon are a couple of things. Number one, they started on scuff tires. A lot of these guys in the Fast Six started on brand new sticker tires, but Dixon chose yesterday just to run one set of red tires in qualifying, so these tires only have 3 laps on them. They will have a set of sticker reds for later, so they feel like that's an advantage. And to Townsend's point, Kevin, yes, absolutely. Scott Dixon told me before the race, in and out laps around pit stops will be the key today.
And unfortunately, Jack Harvey's day to compete is just about done already. He was one of those involved. They came in to change the rear wing assembly, couldn't get it off, tried to release him just to stay on the lead lap, still lost a lap, had to come back in, so now 2 laps down before they got the lead changes. We see a couple of rookies there, former Indy Lights teammates, running together again. We're going to see a lot of that over the next few years.
This is going to be a great battle to watch throughout the whole year. Although Pato O'Ward only has a 12-race deal, he definitely wants to show his muscle and what he is capable of for the Rookie of the Year. Colton Herder right there gets a good exit here. He might get a good draft down the front stretch. We've got 3 rookies all together right there, flanked by Marco Andretti, who was really quick this morning in morning warm-up.
As he said the first time here for Pato O'Ward, he said he is absolutely having a blast racing here at Long Beach. As you see now, Colton Herder trying to make a move on his fellow rookie.
Great side by side. That's not. Oh my God! I can't believe they made it.
That was respectful, professional, really good driving.
They were teammates a year ago in Indy Lights, as Kevin mentioned, and Pato O'Ward left Colton Herder a very generous amount of room at the exit of turn 1. By doing so, here comes Rosenquist on O'Ward. So O'Ward under attack, and Paul, I don't think O'Ward's going to put up for that much longer. He's going to be coming back fighting.
This is the first time we've seen him really get muscled around. He's been the little guy that's been muscling some of the veterans, but these 2 rookies definitely want to get in front. And he's got another run on. Marco's going to get by on the outside right there and go the long way. So maybe O'Ward's got an issue.
Yeah, he's in trouble for sure. You don't see him go backwards that quickly. And meanwhile, we ride with the NTT data. Honda of Felix Rosenquist. He's on a mission yesterday after crashing out in qualifying. He should have been in the Firestone Fast 6. So frustrated by that. Let's see how high the Swede can climb, as Alexander Rossi has put 1.4 seconds on Scott Dixon since the restart.
Interesting to watch Rossi, Dixon, Townsend, how far these guys can go on fuel. They're arguably probably 2 of the best guys at making fuel mileage and lap time in the field. So
O'Ward continues to struggle. Sebastian Bourdais got by going into turn 1. Now Bourdais' teammate Santino Ferrucci coming hard on the Mexican rookie.
Santino Ferrucci said, "This is like no other street circuit that I've driven." That's right. Welcome to Long Beach. It is like no other.
No, Dale Coyne likes to go off strategy and do something different, but I'm not sure they're going to think about 3. Santino, as he takes a peek to the inside of Pato O'Ward, thinks that what they really can do is just be a little bit different than the leaders. So if they come in the early part of a 2-stop window, maybe he tries to stay out. The problem there is the challenge is you have to make sure the tires will last the full run. I said, how are they at the end? And he said, we'll find out as we go.
Well, he's got a power problem, look, because Santino's already side by side before half straightaway. So all these Hondas are just, look at this, another car
This is
up
hinge
the
clip.
inside. So there's something going on with O'Ward's motor.
Just keep working on saving fuel, keep giving us 110, 110 all the time. It'll come to us. Just be patient.
So that's O'Ward's stand. It sounds like they're driving to some kind of a fuel strategy. I'm not quite sure what that might be, Kelly.
Well, and I've just checked in with the team who've confirmed that there is no mechanical issue or anything else for Pato O'Ward. They've just been telling him to do the best that he can and kind of playing it up. We can't do anything about the Chevy versus Honda issue here. So he did tell me earlier this weekend, though, that he has absolutely had his hands full with this car. He said it's just like every inch equals 2 spots on track, so he's been pushing. He said it's just so hard to compete with some of these other bigger teams.
Yeah, straightaway speed is just not there, Townsend.
Well, if they try to, he said, to stay with it, it'll come to us, but I just don't see it.
Alexander Rossi is in a nice rhythm now. About 1.3 seconds out in front of Scott Dixon, and Team Penske's Will Power sits third. A reminder that you can get even more IndyCar with the new NBC Sports Gold IndyCar Pass. Watch every qualifying and practice live and on demand. You can do that by visiting NBCSports.com/IndyCar. Now, we know that so many of you have already, and thanks for doing that. Enjoy those sessions like never before. As Tony Kanaan in the ABC AJ Coit car hits pit road, Cal.
And it's a bit early. We knew a couple teams might try for a 3-stop strategy, which looks like it's going to be the same for Tony Kanaan. And what a weekend it's been for him. In qualifying yesterday, a big off, moved the tire barrier, moved the retaining wall. In fact, when I saw Tony today, he was limping around pit road. He said he spent an hour in medical first thing this morning, and he told me that his left knee actually bent the steering column in his car. But that's not what's been bothering him in the car today. It's really his lower back has been an issue. He didn't know if he'd be able to make it through all of morning warm-up, but he did. He said there was no way he was going to compromise his record consecutive start streak, but he was worried he might have to park the car. When I saw him at driver intros, he said, no way, I'm going for it today. I feel pretty good.
He's got his hands full right now. A couple guys that had issues on the start, but they're on a different strategy now. Harvey had to make some major repairs, replace the back wing.
Yeah, these are all guys that have been to the pits. Here comes Ed Jones making a move on Kanaan. Ed on hot tires. Jones pitted on lap 10.
It just goes to show what an Ironman, we call him the Ironman because he competed in Ironman and loves his triathlon competitions. But Tony Kanaan saying, right, today's my 304th consecutive race. I'm not going to miss that, as Kelly mentioned. And he just keeps digging deep. Alexander Rossi, PT, continually sets fastest lap of the race, lap after lap after lap, as that fuel load burns, and he maintains his now 2.5 second lead, almost lead over Scott Dixon.
Yeah, he's pulling away, but I haven't seen anybody in a long time pull away from power like this, especially early in the race. We're only 15 laps in, and they built up a 6-second gap to Will Power, 8 on Newgarden. So these two guys right here, they've been the fastest cars all weekend, so they're dominating the race right now.
And Will Power has done the same to the championship leader, his Penske teammate Joseph Newgarden. There's almost a 3-second gap further back. Graham Rahal maintains 5th, Ryan Hunter-Reay is 6th, then Simon Pagenaud, Takuma Sato, Colton Herder and Felix Rosenquist, a couple of rookies still in the top 10.
And further back there, Ryan Hunter-Reay in the DHL car. This is the frustration that comes from a little bit of a qualifying bobble. They just didn't get it right in second round. Hunter-Reay outside the top 6 in qualifying. I'm sure he feels like he's got a car that's as fast as Rossi's. He proved it in practice, but he's stuck down in the field right now, making a rear bar adjustment. Looked like he was stiffening the rear bar, maybe to help his car turn a little bit better in the dirty air behind Graham Rahal. Marty?
And Townsend, you know how much he loves this place. His wife Becky is from the Long Beach area, the LA area, so he would love to get another Long Beach win. For all of these leaders up front, yes, Alexander Rossi putting down some very quick lap time right now. You'll see them on a 2-stop strategy. You saw Kelly, or heard Kelly mention a moment ago, those on the 3-stop strategy. The leaders, though, will pit around lap 25 or 26. That's when you'll see them on pit road. And Townsend, that was key for Alexander Rossi last year in this race. He pitted 4 laps before Will Power. They were almost nose to tail when Alexander Rossi came to pit road. By the end of that sequence, he was 5 seconds further down the road. So I think you'll see these leaders on the early side of this first window.
Well, we'll have to see. There's so many things that go into the green flag stops. How does the team do on pit lane? What's the speed of the driver entering the pit box, leaving the pit box? And then, of course, the hardest part, Paul, the in-laps and especially the out-laps here at Long Beach.
A lot of time to be made on your in and out laps. Just having consistency within the tire. Pagenaud finally having a good race. He's right now running in 7th, so he lost a couple spots from where he started. But right now he's settled in, knows that he needs to get some good results and bring him up in the championship.
The Frenchman scored his first ever win for Roger Penske right here at Long Beach. So special memories for Simon Pagenaud. And this could be, he needs this to be that pivotal event in this 2019 championship. The man behind him knows what it's like to win here on the the streets of Long Beach. Takuma Sato, one of the biggest wins of his career outside the Indianapolis 500. He's got two rookies really starting to increase the pressure on it. Colton Herder followed by Felix Rosenquist. You know, Colton Herder said earlier this weekend, I've never driven anything around here other than on iRacing, and I've crashed plenty of times. So I'm really looking forward to my first real race.
Well, it's super impressive because Indy Lights hasn't come to Long Beach for several years now as we ride on board with Rosenquist. And this is such an awesome view. It really helps you appreciate the varied surfaces on the track, concrete, asphalt patches, sealer, bumps. And as we get into the later stages of this opening stint on the Firestones, you'll maybe start to see guys slide around and struggle to put the power down. Let's watch Colton Herder as you're watching the Firestone telemetry, lower left. Rosenquist up through the gears right now. Colton Herder looks to have pretty good power down.
Hey folks at home, you want to know a good story about Colton Herder? So the team are already well down the road in getting King Taco as a sponsor for this weekend. Well, the boss of King Taco heard about the Herder family tradition, and that is when Colton was a kid and either his mum or dad would take him to the track and he'd win in go-karts or whatever it might be, on the way back home they would stop and have a victory taco. Well, the boss of King Taco said, I tell you what, I love that story so much that if Colton wins today, every ticket holder here at the Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach can go to one of our local stands here at the circuit and get a free taco. A victory taco for everyone, Kev.
Oh, certainly more fans now for the hometown boy who grew up about 60 miles away from here. Now, Townsend a moment ago mentioned power down. It's actually fresh power today for Colton Herder. As a precaution, Honda had them change the engine out after qualifying yesterday. So a fresh engine today. By the way, last week, remember when he had to stop early, the issue was a fuel pump and a filter issue. So Colton Herder one to watch, but everybody's chasing Alexander Rossi, another Honda, in front of the Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach.
Rossi started on sticker tires, so we'll see if that plays a factor later on. Will Power will move back to him. He started on sticker red tires, and he said, we struggled so much on Friday that for me to make the Fast Six was kind of a win for us this weekend. Power, after a disastrous last two races, told me if we get a podium finish today, Kelly, that's really our goal.
Well, Joseph Newgarden in fourth has been the championship points leader since winning the season opener at St. Petersburg. He now has a 27-point buffer in that championship, and he told me whether he was 27 points ahead or 27 behind, he would continue to drive the same way. And he said it's all about maximizing their weekends, week in and week out. And for last week at Barber, that was taking a 16th place qualifying car and turning it into a 4th place result, Marty.
Graham Rahal is sitting in 5th, Kelly, and he's starting to say the tire's going away very quickly. 22 laps into this run. The window open right now for all these guys, and they're starting to realize that if they're going to beat Alexander Rossi and Scott Dixon today, they're probably going to have to do a little something different strategy-wise. So Graham Rahal and his team talking about going longer, Kevin.
Ryan Hunter-Reay, starting on the black primary tires, has 2 sets of stickers. He said this can really work in our favor if most of those up front use up their new set, the only one they have early. Well, Scott Dixon's the only one that started on used, so advantage for Hunter-Reay, maintaining station. That was the goal in this first stint. Right behind him, Simon Pagenaud. Kyle Moyer just told him a moment ago, beware, Scott Dixon's red tires are starting to fall off, so we're getting to that window where we really want to watch what the lap times will be late in this first stint, Marty.
Last week's winner in Birmingham, Alabama, Takuma Sato sitting in the 8th position. They had a party for that win on Thursday night. Takuma celebrating not only with the IndyCar team for Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan Racing, but the IMSA team. They were here this weekend as well. Lots of understeer. How much? In fact, they're going to take 2 rounds of wing, Kevin, on this next stop.
Boy, that's a big one. Colton Herder, fastest in the warm-up today. It's been a different weekend for him. Fast in practice 1, then they lost the balance a little bit for a while. Got him back in qualifying circumstances, and a red flag kept him from advancing. But he said the car is great today, and what he especially likes is how they are on old tires. We can see that come into play right now, Kelly.
Well, running 10th is another one of those impressive rookies, Felix Rosenquist, who started off the season with the top 5 at St. Pete. In fact, he said the season started off perfectly, and then the reality of this series and the competition set in. He said it feels like something new is constantly being thrown at me. you can never just rest on your laurels. These tracks are constantly changing and rubber up, so he admits it's been quite a handful the last few weeks. He's really trying to maximize with a good top 10 here in Long Beach.
Alexander Rossi is gapping Scott Dixon at about half a second a lap over the last few laps. So he continues to extend his lead as James Hinchcliffe dives for pit lane, and Marty's there.
Yeah, we're going to see if these early divers to pit road will be helped by coming to pit road, getting these tires on a little bit quicker than some of the other guys. You get the onboard view of Hinch coming in to his stall. A little bit too much understeer, turn of front wing for those guys, and the fresh Firestone rubber as well. So this early stop in lap 24 for James Hinchcliffe may have to save a little bit during the set, but we'll see if it pays off for him.
Once we get more takers, guys, this is where it's going to become the danger zone for Rossi. He's built up a huge lead, Townsend. But if some of these other players like Power and Newgard take it, you got to come in.
Right now, Hinchcliffe is in a sweet spot. If a yellow were to come out, you would see the exact same thing happen that we saw earlier in the year at Coda when Rossi and Power were up front and they stayed out, because even though it's early in the race, everybody will have one more stop after this. Your leaders would have to pit under yellow as Hunter Ray comes in.
I think we need to keep the IMSA WeatherTech sports car race in mind from yesterday in terms of anything can happen, Marty.
Getting busy here. First stops, Ryan Hunter Ray. He may be done with the primary tires now. 2 sets of stickers to go to the rest way. A little turn of front wing. Hunter Ray with a really good stop back out, Marty.
Happy to report Sebastian Bourdais has Power back on the timing stand, so they have telemetry for the first time in the race. He said too much oversteer, half turn of front wing, but they said do not delay the stop for that turn of front wing. They go to the red tires, Kevin.
Marco Andretti, a little turn of front wing. He makes his first stop. He's been dealing with some understeer, and he goes out on the alternates after stop number 1 in the U.S. concrete car.
Watching Alexander Rossi. He's in traffic and he's exposed. Does he come to pit lane? Yes, they know it. They have to take the insurance policy. The leader, Rossi, is on pit lane.
Got a big lead. They were laid out as we saw some of these guys pitting, so he had to come in here with the traffic.
Dixon followed Rossi in.
And that's the only set of the new alternate red sidewall tires that he has. Alexander Rossi has been flawless so far in this race. Back out, and will he beat Scott Dixon out, Marty? Very easily.
Scott Dixon up front, and he said the rears were going off so bad that it felt like something was wrong with the car at the end of that run. They scuffed in 1 set of primary tires. They used it right then. Dixon told me that helps with the outlap. We'll see if they can gain some ground on Rossi.
Smart play from Dixon too, even though the car was going away, just to mirror what the race leader's doing. Limit that exposure in case a yellow would have come out.
The only downside is that Rossi comes out in traffic. There he is on cold tires with Mateus Lace all over him. He's going to have to deal with these cars that are effectively in the same position but still haven't pitted. So Lace probably has 4 or 5 laps before he needs to pit. So Rossi's got to hold position, not lose average pace, and work his way back up to speed. The next car up ahead will be Max Chilton, who still needs to pit.
When you're coming out of the pits on cold tires and you're racing with guys on hot tires, these guys in the back, they got nothing to lose. Rossi's got everything to lose by getting racing with him, so you can't afford to get in a wheel-banging match or end up down the runoff because you're racing with a guy you're really not racing with.
But the key for Rossi was they took the insurance. They made sure that they didn't stay in the danger zone for longer than necessary. There's O'Ward.
And we saw there at the beginning, Pedro O'Ward really had his hands full, lost positions early in this race, and they're going to go with some black primary tires for the young rookie out of Mexico.
I think that'll be a relief for him too, considering how that car performed the opening stint. Remember, it was around about 7 seconds, the distance between Alexander Rossi and Scott Dixon at the time of their initial pit stop. Let's see how that shakes out now that they're in a little bit of traffic and getting those tires up to temperature.
He looked a lot closer in the camera shot because Rossi was held up by some
One at the bridge now.
And here comes Power.
And he see him coming down pit road, guys. Roger Penske on the radio when he saw everyone else pitting. Use the push to pass as much as you can. And Will Power here, they are going to scuff these, put on scuff tires, and we have a car off. It's Ferrucci who is off the racetrack. Will Power pitting at a very opportune time. It looks like he stalled it, so Power leaving pit road with fresh tires. We'll see how the cycle's out, guys.
He's definitely stalled because the number on the side is not green, it's red. So he is stalled, and this is the danger zone for the guys that haven't pitted now. If this goes yellow, like Newgard and Pagenaud, they are in deep trouble if they throw a yellow.
That's down at the end of the front straight. The runoff down at turn 1.
St. Paul, by the way, Pagenaud did pit, so he's one of those that just got in.
No yellow flag yet. Only a local yellow. We've seen this in the past. Last race at Barber, race control left the pits open and the track green with just a local yellow until everybody would have a chance to pit. And there you see it. Newgarden's in. He's safe now.
And when the leaders pitted ahead of him, the team telling Joseph Newgarden to push it, to use overtake. They wanted to maximize those last couple of laps. They can put on those black Firestone Speedway fuel, and he's off.
Oh, look at this. Will Power on Scott Dixon. Power was a long way behind Scott Dixon prior to that pit stop. So great work from the Team Penske crew.
Look at Rossi. He's way up the road now. He's gapped Dixon, and now Dixon has slipped back, but he's got the draft, Townsend. He's on the push to pass.
This was not in the plans for Scott Dixon. Totally focused on the battle with Rossi. There goes Newgarden. What a great job on the overcut for both of the Penske cars. They took the risk of staying out with clean air for better pace, and it's paid off.
And remember, that was the strategy that worked for Joseph Newgarden at the season opener on the streets of St. Petersburg. Played the long game, and it came his way.
Here the 19 has gotten started, and he's out of the runoff, so no yellow. These guys that ran longer was the benefit because Dixon didn't have a big enough gap to power Newgarden to pit early. Rossi had a big 7-second gap, and he is long gone down the road.
It's 5 seconds now to Joseph Newgarden, but it's still a really comfortable margin for the Andretti Autosport Honda driver. And talk about, hey, no pressure driving a Honda here today. Shinji Oyama, the president and CEO of American Honda, is here watching Alexander Rossi drive one of his cars, one of his motors, perhaps to victory lane, but there's a long way to go. We're not even halfway yet in the Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach. There's nothing like playoff hockey, and tonight it's a pair of Game 3s. At 7 Eastern on NBCSN, it's the top-seeded Lightning face-off against the Blue Jackets. Remember, Columbus leads Tampa by 2-0. And then at 10, the Sharks clash with the Golden Knights in Vegas. That series is tied 1-1. So there's a pretty fierce battle going out on track that Graham Rahal is involved in. And Graham is a fierce Blue Jackets fan.
Townsend Slick Willie P's got a log jam of Hondas behind him. Newgarden has kind of left him up the road there. He's already gone around turn 10, so he's really kind of holding these guys up.
Well, the key, too, is that Graham Rahal started on the black primary harder tires, is now on the softer reds on the shorter stint. He's got a big run.
He had a big problem. Something happened coming out of the hairpin. Like he's got a neutral.
Dixon around the outside. It'll give Scott the inside run down into turn 1 if he can get alongside Will Power, which he can't at the moment.
Oh, deep on the brakes. He's going down the runoff.
It's over for Power. He's gone.
And Power drove onto the marbles, if you saw that, in defending Scott Dixon. He went driver's right, picked up a ton of loose rubber, and when he got to the brake zone, not nearly as much grip with all the marbles still on the tires, and now he's just trying to clean up those tires.
If we get a replay of that, he got a neutral coming out of the hairpin. It stalled on itself, and then Dixon had the opportunity. Power defended. Watch this. It's a little further down the road, but if we get something coming out of the hairpin, it fell on its face.
And he had no choice but to go down the runoff. That's where Santino Ferrucci stalled his car.
The irony is if we see on board with Graham Rahal again, there goes Power, shoots into the overrun in turn 1. The irony is that Will Power's sports car teammate Helio Castroneves yesterday hit neutral in the hairpin while leading in the IMSA race in the prototype class.
So right here, he had a problem coming out of the hairpin. See if he has it again. Maybe, Marty, have you heard anything down in the Penske pit?
I'm going to check with Ron Marzewski here real quick, who helps out Roger Penske on the strategy. But these guys, 3 weeks in a row for Will Power. You think about the mechanical failure at Coda, the rough race at Barber last week, spinning. They've lost 6 spots in the championship standings in the last 2 races. They cannot afford another bad finish.
Power has returned to the racing.
Well, we know this is
surface ahead of James Hinchcliffe. So Power's in 8th. Some calming words for Power. Just try and play it cool. Got time on our side. Not yet halfway yet. 50 laps remain.
Hey guys, it was a bit of an engine misfire, I'm being told. Ron Marzewski told me coming off of the hairpin. That's what happened with Will Power when he lost power coming off that last corner.
Sounds a little coy to me. Like he missed a gear and went into neutral because it just stopped accelerating.
Might have been a misfire in neutral.
So as we focus on the rookie battle, Felix Rosenqvist and Colton Herder were having a pretty good run inside the top 10. Colton's disappeared from the top 10. Kev, what's the story?
Yeah, just wanted to update on what happened to him. It was a slow pit stop the last time, so that's why he lost about 4 or 5 positions. Let's look at it again. I think the hose was in front of him, so he had to wait for the hose. Changing on his first stop. Still not ready to go yet. A little bit slow on the left front. Yeah, and he had to stop it because the hose wasn't clear yet, so that was smart because he avoided a penalty but then stalled it there, so he lost a good 5 or 6 seconds. Now on the positive side, Brian Barnhart just said, you're about a second a lap faster than all those right in front of you, so keep an eye on Colton Herder, who's already picked up 1 spot since this pit exchange, trying to get some more back.
This guy forgot to throw the air gun around the car. He went for the wing change, and then Colton Herder was ready to go and saw the hose there and stalled it.
In that situation, you really have to bail out on getting the turn of wing in.
Yeah.
And focus on a short pit stop. You can't afford to lose that much track position in a race where we're 37 laps in. We had a yellow at the start, but effectively no other in-race yellows other than the opening lap.
There was a communal groan too because the crowd realized it's unlikely for any free King tacos at this stage. Down in 12th, it's up 28 seconds behind the race leader. Here's James Hinchcliffe. He's running inside the top 10 in 9th, still trailing Will Power. They're trying to recover. Up front, Rossi has built a 9-second lead.
For Newgarden, that is hard to pull back because when you can't see a guy anymore at all, it's really hard to like have like you're chasing a guy, like a rabbit chasing, and it's really difficult to pull back a lead like that when you can no longer see the guy anymore. As we see Kanaan now leaving the pits, we'll see where he files out. He might come out into Rossi's path depending on where he was running.
Rossi's proven now, whether it's reds or blacks, he's just as dominant as he was last year.
The long run down pit lane before re-entering the track right there at turn 1, which is really, it's quite a tricky re-entry. The cars are coming down at such great speed. There's Santino Ferrucci after that spin. He's way back in 22nd. He's 2 laps down. Jack Harvey after that collision on lap 1. He's 3 laps down. Marcus Ericsson, part of the collision and the penalty. He's a lap off the pace. Spencer Piggott, Tony Kanaan. It's a tough day for these guys. Not tough at all up front for Alexander Rossi. It's history repeating itself here on the famed stretch of Long Beach. You're watching NBCSN's coverage of IndyCar, brought to you by the all-new Chevy Silverado, the strongest, most advanced Silverado ever. And by Total Performance Engine Oils. Keep your engine younger for longer. Proud sponsor of Rahal Letterman Lanigan Racing. IndyCars by the beach, Long Beach, as we welcome you back. Lee Diffie, Townsend Bell, Paul Tracy, Robin Miller, Kelly Stavist, Marty Snyder, and Kevin Lee working pit lane. And Kev is at the Andretti pit where they're watching and enjoying. This man here in the Napa Honda, Alexander Rossi, leading Kev by some 10.5 seconds.
It sees like it would be a pretty good day for the engineer Jeremy Millis and the strategist Rob Edwards. So we're going to try to get you to share some secrets. We're already talking about the danger zone when we get to that second and final stop. Do you come in the early part of the window, or is there a reason why it's worth to stay out a little bit?
I think in this instance, you'd come in at the early part of the window. Wouldn't be much reason to stay out.
You got an option between scuffed reds and primaries. What can you share?
Yeah, we do. I mean, we're pretty happy on the blacks at the moment. You know, we'll see when we get to that point, but I'm pretty happy on the blacks at the moment.
Plenty of reasons to be plenty happy. A 10+ second lead for Rob Edwards and Alexander Rossi, Kelly.
Team Penske President Tim Cindric calling the shots for Joseph Newgarden in that 2. And Tim, so far you've used strategy to gain 2 spots. How do you get that last one from Alexander Rossi?
Yeah, it's going to be pretty tricky. I think traffic's going to have to dictate that. He pretty much has the field covered here, but right now we're probably a bit more focused on the guys behind us than the guy in front of us. But yeah, it looks like if this stays green, we'll have one more stop, but it's going to be pretty mixed up because the 9 car is going to go sticker reds, so they're going to have an advantage on the outlap here. So not sure we can get away from him.
Well, pre-race, Joseph told me he thought maybe you'd be happiest on blacks. Do you have a better sense of that now, blacks versus reds?
Yeah, I think the reds were actually really good. The difference is going to used reds will be a little more difficult. You kind of saw the 9 fall off and Award fall off, and you know, the sticker reds on the outlap will certainly help Dixon.
Right, Tim, thank you.
Kel, thank you very much. I mean, if Joseph Newgarden can maintain position here and get a podium, he had 3 podiums last year, but they were all wins. There were no seconds, no thirds. If he can stay where he is, this will be 3 podiums in 4 races, and he will extend his championship lead. That's a good day by the beach.
It will, but it's a tough situation for Newgarden because, like Tim Cindric said, Scott Dixon has sticker reds to finish the race. Now, for Dixon's team, they've got to be careful that when they do pit him, in order to take advantage of those sticker reds, he needs to come out without a bunch of traffic in his way. So they'll be looking at the delta, the gaps to the cars further back and trying to figure out when's that optimal time to bring in Dixon so he can make use of those tires that they preciously saved for this final stint.
It's a good day shaping up, Paul, for Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan. Graham Rahal in the Total Honda is 4th. His teammate and last week's winner, Takuma Sato, is 7th. This is a big swing for the team. It's a big improvement.
It really is. They've really kind of found a setup and multiple setups that work for both guys, because last week they had completely different setups to each other and they were both very competitive. Here this weekend, cars are much closer in terms of setup and they're both right up there, but right now they're in such tough company towns and it's really just hard to get by any of these guys.
Yeah, but to Lee's point, the Rahal team has just shown tremendous, consistent progress in the last few late races, and they've been very excited about what the balance of the season holds. I'll be keen to see what happens when they get to Indianapolis. Somebody that's going to need a big Indy 500, though, Marty, is Will Power.
Yeah, he would love to go back there and defend his win in the Indy 500. Frustrating 3 weeks now in a row for Will Power, 3 races in a row. A moment ago, we talked about the issue coming off the hairpin. It was an overboost issue for Will Power. Then once he settled in after dropping from 3rd now to 8th, Roger Penske told him a couple of times, you're as fast as a leader, and very frustrated. You can hear it in his voice. Will Power came back on the radio, immediately said, yeah, I know, we've got the quickest car here. And Penske came back and said, well, show me, do something with it, and show us what you can do. But obvious frustration, Townsend.
How do you feel about the tires at this point? Probably 12 or 13 more laps.
Well, it's been quite the season for the reigning Indy 500 champion at round 2, Circuit of the Americas. He led the first 45 laps, only to have a transmission issue, a drivetrain issue, and it was over. You see the frustration there. And then this is one he described as for the kids, a great show for the kids. It was a spin and continue. It wasn't a spin and win. And then right here today, just gets a little wide down into turn 1, trying to defend from Scott Dixon and Graham Rahal down the runoff, as simple as that. But Paul, for the viewers at home, describe what an overboost is.
Well, an overboost is when everybody gets the same level of boost, so everybody's equal. And what happens is when you come off a corner and you spin the tires, it'll cause a spike in the boost and it'll go over your minimum, your maximum level. So what happens is the computer kicks in and it says too much boost, and it opens a wastegate valve and it dumps all the turbo boost out into the exhaust. and you lose all your power.
The thing is about boost, though, and overboost, is that every team, driver, and engine engineer, the Chevy technician or Honda technician you work with, you're constantly fudging your boost level to flirt as close as you can to the limit. And I get the feeling that the Chevy teams are under a little pressure from the Hondas here, and they're pushing it to the maximum, and sometimes they go over.
Is Alexander Rossi the race leader at his limit? He looks certainly nice and calm and composed, and boasts an 11-second lead here in the Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach. If you've never been to this part of the US, so long as traffic is compliant, we're about half an hour's drive south of Los Angeles International Airport, and they've been racing here on the streets of Long Beach for some 45 years. Formula 5000 kicked it off, and my dear old friend Brian Redmond was the inaugural winner, and then transitioned to Formula 1 for about 8 years, and then IndyCars ever since the mid-80s. And here we are as we welcome you back to the Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach. There's a good chance that Brian Redmond will be watching this race and enjoying Alexander Rossi leading and leading easily.
Speaking about Long Beach through the years, Lee, our own Russ Thompson, our statistician, showed me footage of lay-down go-karts here, twin-engine go-karts with a very young Scott Pruitt. Talk about sketchy.
I remember it back in the day, back in the mid-80s, 83, 84, when they were in the go-karts here. As we look back here to Beach, he's having a decent run, staying out of trouble. He's been Mr. Excitement so far this year. A lot of offs, a lot of mistakes, but it's been a quiet weekend so far this weekend.
Quiet, but constructive and productive. Firestone's biggest movers back that up, because Zach Veach in his Gamebridge Honda for Andretti Autosport has made up 7 positions from his starting spot.
I just get the feeling, though, that Zach Veach is not going to be thrilled with the biggest mover award if he ends up with it, because when you end up 15th, you know, Veach in his second season here in IndyCar, he knows that he needs to start, you know, posting top 5s and flirting with the podium finish, so he needs a lot more than that.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about saving. Just go back to what you were doing. 8 more laps.
Sure, I think I can make it work.
That's up to you. I'll take it if you can do it.
Yeah, never mind. I'm making all my time on entry.
I was talking to one of his crew guys over the weekend. He said his focus really is not trying to beat his teammates Rossi and RHR. His focus this year is trying to outrun Herder in awards. So he's running right there with him. So you got to set goals, pretty lofty goals, to outrun Rossi, and especially in a place like here. But he's right where the marker is of the guys he's trying to beat.
Let's have a look at our Chevrolet driver update. And you see Max Chilton aboard the Gallagher Carlin Chevrolet. Max is running in 16th position at the moment, Cal.
Yeah, and it really hasn't been the start to the season Mac Chilton would have hoped for, but yet when I talked to him ahead of today's race, he told me that driving-wise, he feels like he's doing the best he ever has in an IndyCar. He's really getting into a rhythm for the race, but they just had trouble the last couple of weeks. Last week it was contact with Tony Kanaan before that run out of fuel, and now it looks like Herder is headed to pit road.
Contact on the left front wing for Colton Herder. Don't know if that was car to car. Herder was running around Sebastian Bourdais.
That's big contact. That's
left rear suspension's damaged as well. Big kink to the left rear back here.
What has happened to Colton Herder? Has he slapped the wall in turn 9 maybe?
He might have got into the tires at turn 9 and ripped the front wing apart, because that's kind of odd damage. There's no tire marks on the front there, so
left front suspension, Paul, is also kinked right there. So he got into a wall and potentially tires. There's a lot of damage to that 88 car.
It's going to pretty much end his day here. Suspension damage, front and rear, but let's take a look. Turn 9, wide, sideways, banged the wall pretty hard. Wow. So he got loose coming off the curbs in turn 9, and it stepped out and overcorrected.
Yeah, you turn it off.
Almost looked like it ripped the steering wheel out of his hands. We've seen that. Remember, that section of the track is where all of that rubber from drifting has built up and caked up. Wouldn't surprise me as he corrected and the car kicked back, that it ripped the wheel out of his hands.
He had that happen last year in the lights race, remember in Toronto, where he had stepped out on him, he grabbed it, and he ended up getting into the wall. The same kind of accident, broke his wrist last year in Toronto. So you see here, it snaps sideways, he corrects, and it goes in right on the front wheel. You don't get your hands off the wheel, Townsend, you can easily break your wrist when that front tire hits the wall.
He broke his wrist in Indy Lights last year, midway through his season, and really struggled, still raced with it damaged. And it looks like he's having a hard time with his right hand almost, getting his helmet off. I don't know if it's fatigue.
One-handing it on there, so.
What a shame for the youngest ever winner in IndyCar. His first run on the streets of Long Beach in any car in a proper race has come to a premature end.
Got plenty of hair.
Broke that right wrist last year at Toronto in the lights race. That really killed his championship run to Pato Award. So we'll get an interview with him, see if that might affect him.
And at the Harding Steinbrenner camp, there's Mike Harding in the background to the right, Brian Barnhart close to us. Wow, this team is starting to see some peaks and valleys this season, isn't it? They had a fuel pickup issue at Barber Motorsports Park last week, and now this crash here. Kev, we can see you standing by. Just let us know whenever you have an opportunity to get Colton.
So, Diff, I just asked him if he's willing to talk, and he said no, not right now. So, let him catch his breath a little bit.
Yeah. Reminds me of when he missed out on the Firestone Fast 6 at St. Petersburg. He was pretty emotional. He wears his heart on his sleeve, this young man.
This guy right here, he's just wearing him out. He's still cutting the walls as close as possible, leaving no extra room. With the lead he's got right now is 12.3 seconds, and he's still running hard and running qualifying laps.
Never seen this guy cruise, except in the Indy 500 his rookie year, but on a road and street circuit. Look at the hands. Just, I'm going to grab this trophy today. Firm grip.
His teammate at Andretti Autosport, Zach Veach, is in. 32 laps to go here in Long Beach.
So now, Veach, the first one to make his last stop. And this is the danger zone. I know it sounds weird because Veach has been running 15th, but these guys would be in a sweet spot between now and when Rossi and the rest of the leaders make their stop.
So that's what you want to do if you're not leading the race. Do something different, and maybe it works in your favor. So Hunter Ray, the first of those up front, running fifth to come in. So obviously a caution could cycle him to the front. Keep in mind, this is another set of sticker reds going to the finish for Ryan Hunter-Reay, Marty.
And the 5 team of James Hinchcliffe coming down pit road. You get to ride on board with that. And I'm telling you what, there's a lot of debate. You see Hinchcliffe going with those red sticker tires, but there's a lot of debate on the radio, Townsend, among these leaders, because they're seeing the lap time right now of these blacks at the end of a run. They're pretty impressive. So a lot of teams debating, do we go red or black on this final stop, Kevin?
Marco Andretti making his final stop. He's been demonstrative on the radio today. The car not quite the way he would like. Brian Herder has been coaching him up, cheering him up, saying we're okay. And by the way, he has a set of sticker reds they used earlier in the race. He told Marco, this is your best set of tires. We can still make something happen today.
We're in the danger zone again. A lot of guys that were running up front are starting to pit.
What does Rossi do? What does Rossi do as everybody comes in to try to make something happen early? Graham Rahal coming to the box.
What should be the final stops of the day, Graham Rahal coming in. They too debated about those primary tires or the red softer sidewall tires. They went with the red tires. Their teammate Takuma Sato is going to go with the primary tires. He's going to come down pit road. Graham Rahal made a wing adjustment to adjust for those red tires. Sato going to put on those primary tires. Scott Dixon stopping next time by.
Both Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan, Honda serviced and sent for what should be the final time with 30 laps to go.
We heard Rossi's guys say they were going to come in early, and he has not come. So if it goes yellow, he is effectively slitting his own throat.
Okay, Rossi's on pit lane. Rossi caught traffic. Rob Edwards said pit now. They are safe. They just need a clean stop, Kevin.
Over 11 seconds the advantage. Alexander Rossi has dominated this race. His crew looking to finish up a flawless performance today. It's the primaries this time. We'll keep an eye on Scott Dixon. Really good stop, a little traffic. And now Scott Dixon comes down to you, Marty.
Yeah, coming into his stall a moment ago, Sebastian Bourdais, they went with primary tires. So again, a mixed bag down here on pit road. Dixon, though, you heard the team mention a moment ago, they have that set of sticker red tires. One of the few on pit road that has sticker red tires for this final stop. And they can't get the fuel to plug in on Scott Dixon's stop. They could not get the fuel to lock up into the Buckeye. They finally get it full, but that is a long stop for Scott Dixon. 18 plus seconds. That'll kill their track position.
Dixon's going to lose a few spots on that, so that's going to push him back to 5th or 6th.
This is going to be beneficial for Graham Rahal. Rahal may find the podium after that 18.5-second pit stop for the PNC Bank Honda crew.
What could possibly have happened to Dixon there where the fuel didn't flow? Dead man valve?
Dead man valve might have not been open, as we see Newgarden now comes to the pits.
He had inherited the lead after Alexander Rossi came to pit road, and it is going to be scuffed black Firestone tires for Joseph Newgarden, who has to clear out on pit road.
Alexander Rossi is already on the front stretch on Shoreline Drive. This is the agonizing grind all the way down his willpower.
Remember the overboost issue earlier for Willpower. They were running 3rd when that happened, dropped to 8th. They're going to put in Speedway fuel here. No problems getting back connected. They go with the primary tires. That was a quick stop for Willpower and his crew. Again, they've been pretty quick on the racetrack, but lost all that track position when they had the overboost issue.
Yep, and Graham Rahal's already easily gone well by. So Alexander Rossi, Joseph Newgarden, Graham Rahal now the top 3.
Dixon has slid back to 6th. Lost a couple positions on that, 3 positions on that long pit stop where it wouldn't take the fuel. Rossi wearing him out today.
Just a few moments ago on Marcus Ericsson, down Shoreline Drive into 1.
Yeah, I feel you, Rossi. Ericsson already 1 lap down. And Rossi's like, don't you ruin my perfect day. And this might happen, Eric, with Max Chilton gets out of the way. And Rossi's probably thinking, this is the last thing I need, is for a back marker to spoil.
He's got some clear road now. He's got a couple lap cars between him and Newgarden, and he's lost about 3 seconds off of that 8. It's down to 9 seconds, but he's had some traffic, so that would upset his lap time. So now he's got a clear road, and he can just buckle down and get into a pace, and now Newgarden will have to deal with his lap cars.
Car 27.
19, the next car in front, he'll be pitting this time. That'll give you some more space to work. Plus 10 the Joseph still.
That's the voice of Rob Edwards, race strategist. So 27 laps to go for car 27 on what has been a monster day. Alexander Rossi is coming to complete another lap, which means he will have led 54 of today's laps run. You're invited to the most exciting all-day party in sports, the Kentucky Derby, presented by Woodford Reserve. First Saturday in May on NBC. Part of the NBC Sports Championship season, presented by Canada Dry Ginger Ale and Lemonade. You know what else is part of NBC Sports Championship season? In May, it is the Indianapolis 500 for the first time ever on NBC Sports. And look at the lineup we have for you. We've been telling you a lot about this fabulous film, Drive Like Andretti. It details Mario Andretti's life like never before, going back to his hometown as a kid, going back to the refugee camp where he spent several years, the transition to America, and how an immigrant became an American icon. I said earlier in the show, I've been fortunate enough to see snippets of it, and it is beautifully made. And Mario has said, you know, nothing like this has ever been done before for me in my life. So well worth the look. And look all the way to the bottom of the graphic, the 103rd running of the Indy 500. May 26, Memorial Day weekend on NBC. Covering everything at the start, at the end, and in between. Robin Miller. Hey, a lot of people, the most common question is about car count. What are we looking at? 36, 37, 38? What is it?
You know, Diff, we were hoping, I mean, earlier it was going to be maybe we can get 39 or 40, but it looks like 36, 37 at the most. But you got Oriol Servia here today driving the pace car. He's going to get out of that. He's got a ride. You got J.R. Hildebrand, who's always fast at Indy and almost won the 2011 Indy 500. He said yesterday, I'm definitely got a ride for the Indy 500. Then you got Kyle Kaiser, the former Indy Lights champ. He's trying to put a deal together so Ricardo Juncos can be in the Indy 500. There's a couple other guys kind of hanging out trying to put deals together, but at least there'll be what we call real bump. You know, I mean, there'll be 3 or 4 guys get bumped, which is exactly what you want. You don't want one person bumped. So I think it's going to be pretty exciting. The new format's kind of cool because you kind of got everything, instead of wasting Saturday like they did last year, we're kind of queuing up to see where you qualify on Sunday. They've made it pretty cool, and we'll have bump day on Sunday morning and pole day on Sunday afternoon.
Got any last-minute deals, T-Bell, for Indy?
No, man. I'm pumped to call the action and be there all month long.
I was hoping you'd have your motor home there.
Never know. He made that promise to Heather several years ago. He's not going back. Sports cars is as far as it'll go right now. Hey, today's a pretty special day in sport with Tiger Woods winning the Masters. That stretch, look at that, in between wins. And then how about some of our guys here? For Scott Dixon, for Elio Castro Neves. Elio will be back at the Speedway. Wouldn't it be something if these guys could grab another one? A long time ago for this man, the 5-time series champ, the 1-time Indy 500 winner, would dearly like to continue this storied career with another one. And then can Elio join that storied few of becoming a 4-time winner? Saw how emotional he was this weekend when he won the pole position for the Bubba Burger Grand Prix of Long Beach in the IMSA WeatherTech Series. He was jacked. If he could win the Indy 500 again, look out.
This car, Townsend, it's like it's on rails. It just, there's no sliding, there's no movement. It's hooked today, but he's got a little lap traffic right there in front of him. One of them is his teammate, it's Zach Beach. So we'll see if these guys defend and try to stay on the lead lap, but he's got 2 teammates here, which will more than likely, I would think, let him go and give him more buffer as we get down towards the end of the race.
And for Rossi's car, it just seems like any of the onboard shots, especially out the rear, the way the suspension is just kind of soaking it up. It's almost like a motocross bike, just lots of float and soak, and it just looks to ride everything so smoothly. And for Alexander Rossi, smoothness has been really the whole day, frankly, the whole weekend, gone exactly like last year.
Seeing a little bit of brake blocking, just so you know, 20 laps to go, plus 11.2 still on Joseph.
God, Rob Edwards so calm it could almost put you to sleep, just trying to keep his driver in the window, in the zone, talking about tiny little lockups. That's not a full locked, flat-spotted situation. He's just seen tiny little blips in the data. They're optimizing everything.
Kevin, that's exactly the info that the driver needs to know, and where the brake bias is, how much temperature there is. You've got a little tiny lock. That's unbelievable.
Different about these tires. Copy that.
And Rob Edwards just told Alexander Rossi, as by the way, we go through the field, manage the Firestones, keep an eye on your Speedway fuel, but he should be good because he came in a couple of laps later than people like Ryan Hunter-Reay. So Rossi, barring anything going wrong, can cruise to a win here today. Kelly.
Joseph Newgarden, a series champion, but never won here on the streets of Long Beach. But he said it's really just been circumstantial. He felt like they had the speed to do it the last couple of years, but not everything fell their way. A fast car again here this weekend, but 11 seconds behind the leader. Marty, they're going to need help in the way of a caution and a restart.
Graham Rahal in a good position right now for a podium. He said there's a lot for this race team to prove, even after the win last week, because people quickly forget that you can run up front. It's nice for us to be back there. Ricardo Nault told him a moment ago, young man, it's all about managing tires from here out, Kevin.
I know Ryan Hunter-Reay would have liked to have won today, but other than that win in 2010, his average finish in 12 other races here is 15th. So just not getting hit or something going wrong is a positive step for Ryan Hunter-Reay, who's picked up 3 spots from a 7th place starting position, running 4th right now, Marty.
Boy, Scott Dixon's got to wonder what could have been today, Kevin. He's sitting back in 5th after the fueling issue under that last pit stop, and he's only had 2 podiums at Long Beach. Yes, Scott Dixon, the 5-time champ, 2 podiums here. That shows you how tough this track is, Kevin.
Simon Pagenaud has won here 3 times, once in IndyCar, twice in sports cars. For him, though, he is in position for his best finish of the year. We wait to see Simon Pagenaud come through. There he is, and they just simply needed to qualify. First time they've even advanced to round number 2. He made the Firestone Fast 6 and is in position about where he started, running 6th right now, Marty.
Willpower, consistent top 3 lap times, but they've really never overcome that overboost issue earlier when they dropped from 3rd to 8th. But to show you the little love in the IndyCar Series, this happened on Saturday afternoon after qualifying. Yes, Roger Penske had a scooter there. Chip Ganassi said, "Hey, can I get a ride up to my other car?" Roger said, "Sure." We always talk about the Penske-Ganassi rivalry. Well, there's a little love in the series, giving him a lift to his next spot. Hey, how about Takuma Sato, the winner last week at Barber? Solid run for that race team. He is in 8th position right now, and he told me, I think that we have a setup that we can replicate moving forward, something that we can take and move our program forward. They're certainly doing that here this weekend with a nice solid run, and another solid run for James Hinchcliffe, who told me we finally showed the speed last week at Barber. Now we need execution. Let's give a tip of the cap to Taylor Kyle for really putting them in a spot today. Remember, Hinch started 15th. He's running 9th right now, Kelly.
Well, the rookie Felix Rosenquist showing a lot of speed this year, but also a few mistakes, including one in qualifying when he wrecked, put it into the wall. And he told me after that he had a conversation with team owner Chip Ganassi, who basically told him to back it down just a little bit to avoid making some of those mistakes. Felix told me, hey, no big drama. I actually agree with him a bit. It's going to be better in the long run to have a clean race. Well, he's been running 10th, Marty, throughout the majority of this Long Beach Grand Prix.
I'm sure Sebastian Bourdais would love a caution, Kelly. They've been sitting in 8th for what seems like, or 11th rather, for what seems like the entire race. But a solid effort for this team this weekend. They did struggle much of Friday and much of Saturday. Got it pointed in a better direction and sitting here in a nice position in 11th for the 18 car. The Sealmaster machine having a nice solid afternoon. 17 laps to go. It has been the Alexander Rossi show. Can the California kid pull off back-to-back Long Beach wins? We'll find out.
You're watching NBCSN's coverage of IndyCar, brought to you by Honda, an official vehicle of the NTT INDYCAR Series, and by Acura, precision crafted performance. It's a precision crafted performance, all right, from Alexander Rossi. 10.5 seconds out in front. That's been pretty stable. Might fluctuate, as much of a second either way, but boy, this guy is in control.
Had no problem getting by all those lap cars. Still, Townsend sliced close to the walls. Look at that, about 6 inches off the wall there.
Now for Rossi, been watching his pace. At last lap, a minute 10. He did a 1:08.0 earlier on lap 12. Newgarden at a 1:09.6 on the last lap. So let's see what Rossi lays down as he comes to the line here. That's 1 minute
13 to go, plus 11 on Joseph, 8 seconds for the car.
So Rossi's picked it back up.
Robin, what you got?
Well, I was talking to Jim McKellion this morning, Diff, and there was a story about 6 months ago that the LA Angels baseball team was looking to move and build a stadium in downtown Long Beach, which means it would take all the paddock that we have, turns 9, 10, 11, 12, would be gone, and they'd probably tear down some more parts around the town here. But you're like, what would happen to the race? And Jim McKellion said today, he says, look, I can't answer anything because I haven't talked to anybody yet. He said, when the race is over, I'm going to talk to people. But Jerry Forsythe, who's the co-owner of this race with Kevin Calcoven, is here. It's the first race he's been to in 12 years, said, I don't think anything's going to happen. I think it's kind of a political deal. But the good news is, he says, it'd take 4 or 5 years for it to happen. And by that time, Diff, I'll be gone. So I hope it works out, because I cannot imagine an IndyCar Series. I cannot imagine the IndyCar Series without the Long Beach Grand Prix. It is, you know, it's our second biggest race.
We could always race through the stadium like they do at Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez in Mexico City.
You can't be gone, Robin. Who's going to negotiate mine and Townsend's contracts with NBC? You got to stick around forever.
Townsend's Dan Gurney said once that Townsend was the best marketing guy I ever had. He doesn't need any help.
Yesterday would have been the great Dan Gurney's 88th birthday, a founding father of this great event. And Robin Miller, you know that this never would have happened here at Long Beach without Dan Gurney.
Exactly, Townie. When Chris Pook went and saw the city council and Dan Gurney walked in, their mouths all dropped open. They're like, Dan Gurney? So he made it happen, and he you know, the Toyota Celebrity Race, he made that a big deal. Justin and Alex Gurney, his sons, were here yesterday, and I said, what do you think, AAR back in IndyCar someday? And they said, not if we have to buy a Delora. We want to build an Eagle, and we can't do that right now.
So we've been showing you plenty about the race leader. Second place, car 2, Joseph Newgarden. Good news for him, he's going to extend his championship lead just by 1 point, but there is a new driver that will elevate himself into second in the championship. That's Alexander Rossi. Dixon will be relegated to third if they stay as is.
While it's been sort of quiet up front with Rossi's domination, I think this is going to be a pretty fun battle down the stretch over the last 11 laps. This is Ray Hall, Hunter Ray, and Dixon, all three Hondas, and all three, frankly, have had fast cars all weekend.
Got some radio from Rossi. See if we can pull that up for you, hear what he had to say.
Plus 11. We think the balance difference you feel on this set of tyres is just the left front brakes running a little hotter. No reason for concern, but we think that's what you're feeling.
Super calm, all the information you need to be able to push to the limit, but not step over the boundary. I said at the beginning of the show, Rossi needed a big day today to get himself in the picture for the championship, and if it continues to the checkered flag, he's right there.
He would move into second in the championship, up 2 positions. Scott Dixon, if he finished in 5th place, would pop down to 3rd. But, you know, Newgarden still in the driver's seat in the championship.
Kev? Let's keep an eye on this. The best battle on the racetrack right now for 4th. Ryan Hunter-Reay right ahead of Scott Dixon. Hunter-Reay has been really working on a fuel number early in this, but lately I'm not hearing it's much of an issue. I think he might be okay in this situation, but it's still something to watch. This is big picture championship, certainly. These are 2 of the championship contenders, Marty.
And that might answer the question of why Scott Dixon tracked him down fairly quickly. It was gaining on Ryan Hunter-Reay for quite a while, but the frustration point for Dixon, he only has 37 seconds left of push to pass, while Hunter-Reay has 86. That's a frustrating thing when the guy in front of you is on push to pass and you can't answer that, Townsend.
That's for sure. This is the stage in the race where all of the decisions and the franticness of the opening laps come into play in terms of push to pass remaining. So Hunter-Reay and Newgarden looking strong from that standpoint.
This is also the stage of the race where these guys right here, where desperation starts to sink in. You've only got a handful of laps left, and guys really try to push the issue, make a mistake, and maybe cause a yellow, which would bunch everything back up. But right now, it's been pretty clear sailing for everybody, but it's not the first time we've ever seen a late race yellow that could come.
Hey, whoever said that engineers and race strategists aren't loose and don't have fun? Have a look at this on the Napa 27 pit stand at Andretti Autosport. Jeremy Millis and the crew having a little fun. We'll leave it with you as we go to the break. I think that might be a moment where Jeremy's forgotten there's a camera on the box.
Welcome back to Long Beach for the Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach. Alexander Rossi has dominated from pole, looking to win for the 2nd year in a row, and he'd be the first to do that since Sebastian Bourdais won 3 times in a row in the Champ Car Series from 05 to 07, and he's dominated even more than last year. He led 71 laps last year, already 74 of the 79 led so far. And keep in mind, coming in, when he wins the pole, look out. 5th time he's won the pole. This would be the 4th time he's gone on to win the race, Kelly.
Well, Kevin, last week's race at Barber Motorsports Park could prove to be a pivotal weekend for Joseph Newgarden and that Team Penske team. Why? They did not have a good race car. He said it was uncomfortable to drive, inconsistent. They never got a good feel for it. He qualified 16th, yet the team continued to work at it. And then Tim Cindric calling a great strategy, and he came away with a 4th place result. He said it was excellent to wring that out after a tough weekend. They really maximized their result, Marty, and when you look at the big picture standings, 4 straight top 4 finishes to start the season for Joseph Newgarden.
Impressive also for Graham Rahal, sitting in 3rd. I had the privilege of riding around in the parade lap with him in the back of a truck, and we were talking about what they've kind of found the last few weeks. He said, you know what, honestly, we've struggled when it's been warm this weekend. So if we run well today, and it is warm this afternoon here in Long Beach, you'll know we've really hit on something, and they have delivered. Graham has been very good on old tires, staring at a podium finish right here, and they may have hit on something that will carry them into the month of May, and we all know how important that month is.
What a change in fortune, swing in momentum, made some off-season changes within the organization, and it's paying off.
And I think this will be a great battle here with 5 laps to go, because Hunter Ray, I think, has saved enough fuel now to where he can start to push. He was on push to pass. Rahal was on push to pass, answering Hunter Ray, but Hunter Ray right now has 40 more seconds, 39 to be precise, 39 more seconds for Hunter Ray on the button than Rahal. And with 4.5 laps to go, Paul, I think it's going to get pretty racy, especially with traffic coming into play.
The race is right here. All that lap traffic that Rossi had, that he dispersed of about 15 laps ago, is back here with Newgarden. And he's stretched it out in the last 3 laps, another 7 seconds. He's out to almost an 18-second lead now.
I said earlier in the show about Takuma Sato putting a hurting on the field last week. That wasn't necessarily a hurting. This is a hurting. Wow.
This is the kind of shot in the arm that gives you such a boost of confidence. This was the race last year that started Rossi's championship run, and it all kind of fell apart in the final race on the first corner. So this is where it started last year, because he was the same kind of thing. He was aggressive, making moves, but had an accident, had this problem, that problem. He got to Long Beach, and basically the same day as today, and that's what propelled him into the championship lead through most of the season.
PT, I think you're right. This is the battle that's going to be fun to watch. Graham Rahal now down to just 12 seconds of push to pass left, sitting in 3rd. And literally every time Ryan Hunter-Reay is on to push to pass Townsend, Ricardo Nalda is telling him he's on it, he's off it, he's on it, he's off it. Do you want that information from the guy behind you, knowing when he's on push to pass?
Yeah, you want that information, but you also want just more inventory, because right now Rahal's going to run out, and that's what Hunter-Reay needs to do. But now Hunter-Reay's under pressure from Dixon.
He's going to go the long way. It makes it easy. Hunter-Reay's got to save fuel and coast it down in there. So up one spot.
Not sure what happened to Hunter-Reay exiting the corner. If there's an issue, or if all of a sudden they've realized that they're not going to make it.
Well, those tires are getting old too. He's got to do 31 laps on those tires as well.
3 to go, 6 miles left in the Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach. Unfortunately, one of the star rookies, Colton Herder, is no longer taking part in this race, and Kevin has more on that.
And we tried to talk with Colton a little while ago, and understandably needed a little moment. Did you have anything going on with your wrist? We were kind of looking at you getting out of the car gingerly. Are you okay?
No, I was fine. It just felt terrible. The car was so quick, and kind of threw it all away, and I don't know, really bad. Feel really bad for the guys, and we were looking at such a good race. You know, we were going to be able to go 4 extra laps longer than the guys in front of us. So, and then we had so much pace out on our own. You know, we had that hiccup in the pit stop, and then we closed a 6-second gap in 7 laps, 8 laps, and we were so damn quick. But yeah, another weekend with nothing to come out of it. So.
You have been active here on the headset and looking at data and telemetry. What are you trying to learn here in this opportunity to kind of see what everybody else is doing during a race?
Anything I can, you know, you look at the telemetry, it always hopes for next year. Maybe you can get something out of it.
understandable why Colton Herder is frustrated. He said this was his dream, running his hometown race in IndyCar at Long Beach. Fast car. Unfortunately, he couldn't capitalize today.
That's a shame. That's a disappointed young man, but the disappointment is so much greater because he's so determined and so passionate. Need to show you the Speedway lap leaders. You don't need to be Einstein to work this one out. Have a look at the numbers. Rossi at 78, Newgarden at 2, Power at 2, and Sato just led 1.
Well, no
just
free,
on those pit stop rotations.
No free tacos. Fire up the barbecue towns, and we're all having hamburgers at your place tonight.
Turn on the hot tub. One to go at Long Beach. 11 corners with an almost 20-second lead. What else do you need to do?
So last year, he dominated the majority of the sessions, including the Sunday warm-up. It wasn't like that this year. He kind of crept up on it throughout the practice sessions. He did lead the final practice session.
However,
and then qualifying was something else.
Qualifying was an absolute hammer drop on the field. Big margin over the rest of them. And the question is,
we got a race here.
Can Graham Rahal hold off the 5-time champion and former Long Beach winner?
Rahal's out of
Dixon.
push to pass. Rahal is at 0.
Stay on this because I think we're going to have a race down to the final corner for the podium spot right here.
No push to pass versus 22 seconds push to pass for Dixon.
But Rahal was smart. He doesn't really need push to pass except for this back straight, which is pretty short. So if you're going to end up with 0, oh, Rahal locked his right front.
Meanwhile, the checkered flag is out. The Acura
Winner,
Prix of Long
Great
Beach.
job.
Oh, big block.
Is won by Alexander Rossi, and here comes Scott Dixon.
He's got one more chance at the hairpin. If he dives it down the inside and does the Robbie Gordon block pass, he's going to try. He's too far back.
It's a drag race out of the hairpin. This is going to be tough. Not for a lack of trying from Scott Dixon, though. There's the finish. And Graham Rahal, will he hang on? Dixon's going to try and draft it. Graham Rahal does get 3rd.
Brilliant stuff.
Joseph Newgarden had a quiet trip to 2nd. It was action, and it was tight for 3rd. So Rossi wins comfortably by 20 seconds, and Graham Rahal will grab his first podium of the season.
Yeah, Scott Dixon not very happy with Graham Rahal, said he blocked him twice. They've asked IndyCar to review it. They said they are going to review the block that happened on the backstretch, so this may not be over for a podium for Scott Dixon, and he is adamant on the radio about it as well.
Let's take a closer look. Started with Graham locking a right front right here into turn 8. Releases the brake pedal at the last second, wide of the apex. Dixon smells blood and pounces. And I'd say that Rahal started moving before Dixon popped. I think that was in anticipation of, not in reaction to. Paul, how do you call it?
Well, it's the last lap, so it'll be interesting to see. I think it's a fair game. He came off the corner and went straight for the inside. Here's a good overhead, so he's already going over there.
This is a great view. The question is now, does Rahal move back over to the left? Let's watch Dixon.
He outbraked him anyway.
Little fade. Little fade.
Little Pruitt fade on him, but he outbraked him in terms of getting into the brake zone.
I think they need to give that to Graham. That looked like hard, clean racing.
We'll wait to hear from race control. Ari Leindyke, Max Pappas, the stewards of the meet. And look at Dixon pulling alongside him, just displaying his frustration.
You'll see the tire here lock. A little bit of smoke right there. And then immediately he starts swerving across the road. They touch too.
Yeah.
Front wing to back tire. But it is what it is.
Look at this. The Iceman is steaming.
He wants that podium. He's like, hey, I'm not pulling down on my pit box.
This is important. The incident between the 15 and the 9 has been reviewed. Car 15 is called for blocking.
Wow.
Car 9 will finish 3rd. Car 9 has finished 3rd.
Well, this interview with Graham Rahal is probably going to be the most exciting thing of the race.
And the official is just telling Scott Dixon, you got 3rd.
A little surprised by that.
I am too.
We've seen a lot of that kind of action over the last couple of years. And it hasn't been called that way.
It's going to be some great interviews here.
Dixon and Newgarden doing their own post-race debrief.
Kelly Stavis down there.
Rahal's pulled up like he's going to the podium. He's not leaving or going back to his pit, so
he's not going anywhere near Scott Dixon.
He still feels like he should be going to the podium. They might want to appeal that.
So while they're digesting and absorbing that, it's time to put the spotlight on the man who got the largest margin of victory at Long Beach since Al Unser Jr. won over Scott Pruitt a long time ago. Alexander Rossi, Kev, back-to-back winners.
That is an impressive stat. It was just this weekend we saw Sebastian Bourdais and Will Power inducted into the Long Beach Hall of Fame. I think you can already start to talk about Alexander Rossi getting set to see his image with the likes of Paul Tracy and the other legends on the streets here in Southern California. Michael Andretti is in there as well with a quick congratulations, quick well wishes from the crew. How about this? Did you think there was any way you could dominate in this kind of fashion?
No, you never think that. We knew it was going to be a really hard-fought battle, but the Napa Auto Parts crew gave me such a great car, and this is the 200th win for Andretti Autosport. So what better way to do it than in that kind of fashion here in Long Beach, here in California. It's an amazing day today.
It's your home state race. It's not your home race. That's Laguna Seca. But still, what is it about this place? You've led, what, almost 150 laps in the last 2 years.
I don't know, man. It's just I have a great car and a great crew behind me, and couldn't do it without them. So hats off to them. This is a special one. I just found out my grandfather died yesterday, so I wanted to dedicate this one to him, and obviously Michael for win number 200. So.
Very emotional win for Alexander Rossi. Last year's championship runner-up is up to second in points in 2019, Marty.
Well, the last lap story, certainly Graham Rahal and Scott Dixon, and that's a tough one to swallow, Graham. You guys had a fantastic race. What's your take on the call by IndyCar there to take away third from you?
Well, I mean, it's not that tough to swallow. We're going to lose the spot anyway. My fronts were absolutely gone. Those were used reds. We should have gone to new blacks there at the end. And the tires were absolutely shot. I mean, I have no braking grip whatsoever. But, I mean, I moved right as quick as I could out of the corner, as you see, and then I gave him a lane. So it's not really like by the rules, you're allowed to make your move, which I did on the exit of the corner, and that was it. So, you know, we're just going to have to discuss it. I'm not like upset about it. I mean, we had a good day. Our car wasn't great today, but it was decent, and the Total Oil team, you know, pushed hard. I mean, that's all we can say. Did I block? Yes, I blocked. You're allowed to block in this series. You're allowed to make a move. I made a move. That's allowed. I mean, it's allowed. So I'm not really sure. I didn't go back to the left. As you can see, there's a lane to the left. You know, he had overtake, I didn't. So if he wanted to go, he could go. But I don't know. We'll discuss it with the officials.
Shoe was on the other foot. You would do the same exact move Scott would, correct?
Yeah, I mean, you would try the exact same. You know, I mean, there's no doubt. There's no doubt. I think, like I said, I don't think anybody, I played the rules as I see them fit. Did I block? Like I said, yeah, I take full, yeah, I blocked. But, you know, you're allowed to in this series. And if they don't want blocks, then they need to say you can't make a move at all and just change the rule. But the problem is we see such large discrepancies, you know, in what is a block, what's not a block. It's fine. We just need to go forward and understand it a little better. At the end of the day, P4. Do we deserve P3? Probably. But you know what? It was a good day and good points for us. We haven't had a lot of luck this year, so I'll just take it as it is and move on.
That's what he told me before the race. We need some luck, and we need to make a statement. They did that today with a nice run, Kelly.
All right, so after all of that, then Scott Dixon will come home in the third position. And for his part, Graham said, you know, he's not mad, not too tough a pill to swallow because he thinks he would have lost the position to you anyway. But he also said he felt like he kind of left you a lane for you to make the move. What are your thoughts on that closing lap?
Yeah, it was unfortunate. You know, I think he overshot turn 8 and then, you know, quickly tried to turn in reaction. And, you know, as the rule is, you can't come back. You know, to defend if, you know, somebody's already there, and that's what happened. And, you know, I was on OT, hit his rear tire, had to lift off, you know, lost momentum, and that also turns the overtake off as well. So, you know, it was just one of those things. I think had he not, you know, reacted there, we would have got him anyway. But you know, it's racing, it's hard racing. Definitely the last stint there was strong for our car. You know, it was unfortunate we had the fuel probe issue. You know, I think we could have had a great race for second there. You know, congrats to Rossi. That was a fantastic drive, and you know, we took a real gamble at the start of the race using used reds there. So you know, we maybe didn't do the right thing there.
Yeah, it was an 18-second pit stop that really killed your race early on, but it looked like Alexander Rossi just ran away with this. Do you think that you would have had anything for him if not for that pit problem?
Yeah, it's always hard to tell, you know, coulda, shoulda, woulda. You know, I think we definitely had the pace. You know, those guys were all around us on new reds at the start. We held our pace pretty good until kind of the last 5 or 10 laps of that stint, and at the end, we closed the gap big time on the 2 car. But you know, I didn't see Rossi, so congrats to him. Can't take anything away from that.
All right, 3 podiums now in 4 races to start the season for Scott Dixon.
And the Ganassi driver will stay in the top 3. Wow, Alexander Rossi can really think about this for a long time. The greats of IndyCar racing. Only the greats have won back-to-back. And now he can put his name amongst that as well. Jeremy Millis, his race engineer, delighted with that. The Blue Jackets play the top-seeded Lightning at 7 Eastern tonight on NBCSN. It is playoff hockey time. Columbus leads that series 2-0, while the Sharks clash with the Golden Knights in Vegas. That's at 10, and they're tied 1 apiece. There's nothing like playoff hockey. Tonight it's a pair of game of 3s. That's coming up. What a scene down there in Victory Lane. Look at this. I mentioned it going to the break about Alexander Rossi's names being amongst some of IndyCar's greats. Mario winning back-to-back. Al Unser Jr. did it on 2 occasions. Alex Zanardi, our own PT, Seabass. Wow, that is something to be super proud of, Alexander Rossi achieving that. Kelly?
Well, a really great race for Josef Newgarden and a best finish for you here at Long Beach Grand Prix. All right, so it was some strategy that boosted you up to second, and then it looked kind of like Rossi was in a league of his own. What was it like kind of turning out the laps there?
Yeah, we didn't have anything for him today. You know, we tried our best to make some progress, and the guys did a great job. We did have a good strategy, like you said. We leapfrogged Will and Dixon. And then I was just wondering where everyone was at. I was wondering if Rossi was good on fuel, and I was giving my all. That's about all I had today. So, yeah, a little shy. You know, it's always tough. It's good to have seconds. This is a good day. We're staying inside the top 3, which is positive, but it's tough. It gets old after a while. You want to win more races, and so it's a great day, but you know, a little short is always disappointing. So we'll come back to the next one. But Team Chevy did a great job, gave us what we needed. Tachi car felt good, just a little short.
You did add 1 more point to your championship series lead, but last week you said it was all about maximizing to come away with a 4th place finish. Was it sort of the same theme here today?
Yeah, I mean, that's every weekend the case is maximize what you got. And I think today, you know, second, it felt like it was the maximum, you know, from what we did on track and where everything felt. It felt like second place was where we should have finished. So we did a good job maximizing that. But now we need to figure out how do we have a first place car, and then we can work to maximize that. So hopefully Indy GP will have a good one. And then the real important one is the Indianapolis 500 right afterwards. So I'm excited for the month of May. Let's roll.
That's right. Let's get to it, the month of May.
And I've got an Indianapolis 500 winner here who's just getting the debrief from his engineer, Ray Gosselin, because there was some drama late in the race for Ryan Hunter-Reay. Lost a position to Scott Dixon. And then you're just then trying to coast to the finish.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a bit of a shock there at the end. They said, you know, we got to go full emergency mode, fuel saving. Went to a caution map on the wheel, and then just had to coast home from there, trying not to lose a position to the next car behind. We'll go back to the shop, look at that, figure out why that was, but it definitely caught us by surprise. Yeah, unfortunately, I think today just came down to qualifying. It was one of those days, not a lot of yellows, so you needed to qualify well, be up front, running clean air. Clean air was a big deal, and just didn't have that today for whatever reason. But, you know, good points today. Congrats to Alex. Great job with the 2017 win for Andretti Autosport. Definitely want to get a win in here for DHL. We won, well, we won 5 races ago now, so it's 5 races too many. So we'll keep plugging away and, you know, hope to check all the boxes off the list, including qualifying next weekend.
You know, one thing I was thinking about, it's the first time in a while that you haven't had massive contact in the race that took you out, but there still was some contact. Let's go back to the start of the race. What do you remember as you were racing Simon Pagenaud?
I was next to him. I was against the wall. I just had nowhere else to go. So I'm not really sure what the deal was there, but there's nowhere else for me to go at that point. I got the wall next to me, so had the position, and yeah, good racing.
And that was a good start to the race. Picked up a couple of spots early and comes home to equal his second best finish ever here in Long Beach. Marty?
Will Power has dissected things with his race team. We'll take a seat here on pit wall. And boy, you were running third when that overboost issue happened. How much did that really hurt your day?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's my mistake for going down the run. I kind of went in the marbles. Probably went to the wrong side to defend from Dixon, but yeah, that was it, man. I mean, it was probably a podium finish there, but threw it away, unfortunately. I was debating whether to make the corner, and I thought, nah, it's better to be seventh and in the tyres. It was close. I may have made it, but I didn't want to take the risk.
Seemed like what started that, though, was the overboost issue at the hairpin, Will.
Yeah, unfortunately, I got an overboost. The wheel spun up a bit, and for whatever reason, we had a new engine in this morning or last night. So, you know, you got to get all those little tolerances right. It wasn't quite right, and yeah, I had a couple of them during the race.
Some good news for you, though. Even though it's a 7th place finish, look at that. Gained 3 spots in the championship standings, so that should put a smile on your face.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. I mean, we needed to finish ahead of all the guys that finished ahead of us, but once again, I'm in a pretty big hole the first 4 races of the season. A bit frustrating considering how fast we've been at some of these tracks, man. Even today, we were super good in the race, just circumstance.
You want some more good news? The month of May is next. Last year, you swept the month of May. Is it even realistic to go into the month of May expecting that kind of performance again?
Yeah, I'm sure we'll be quick. You know, we've been quick everywhere, and you know, Chevy has a great engine there at the 500, so we're looking to really capitalize and try to turn the season around.
What do you do in these couple of weeks to focus then on the month of May? I know the GP is next, but then focusing on the 500.
Yeah, we actually get a bit of testing there, so we get a good indication of how the car is, a slight change in the aero rules. So you know, we'll see what happens. I mean, the team always does a fantastic job for that race, and really looking forward to it.
There you go, Will Power. He was so incredible last May in Indianapolis, hoping he can do something even close to that in 2019, Lee.
Yep, that was the turning point for his 2018 season. We will see if he can do it again. How about this for a team accomplishment? 200 wins for Andretti Autosport.
Back at Long Beach, yes, that is the SpaceX barge where it lands. They take it way out to sea. SpaceX actually lands there, kind of stored here in the Long Beach harbor. Just one of the many cool scenes here surrounding the Long Beach Grand Prix, won by Alexander Rossi for the 2nd year in a row, not too far away from the racetrack. For Simon Pagenaud, it was a, what was it, 6th place start and a 5th place start. 6th place finish for you. But that's what you needed, a solid day, correct?
Yeah, it was a solid day. I think that was the best we could have done today. I think we, you know, we did everything we were supposed to do. Execution was there. We just lacked a little bit of pace overall. So, got to keep working on it. You know, that's all you can do. Rossi had a great race. I think Newgarden did a fantastic job, and putting a Team Penske car up there is great. So, we just got to keep working on it. I'm really excited about the Indy Grand Prix coming up. I think this weekend was really unlock some potential on our team, and I'm looking forward to the month of May.
Turn 1, lap 1's always interesting at Long Beach. Walk us through that. You and Ryan Hunter-Reay, a little contact there.
Yeah, it's racing, nothing crazy. I tried to get my position back by braking deep into turn 1, and you know, you can't make it through turn 2 together, so somebody had to back off, and I had to this time. So you know, it was good for us. I just wanted to get this race done, get some good points, and start our season
wisely. And that's a great point, because you're thinking at that point, even that early in the race, we just need to finish today. We can't afford another DNF.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't had the best start of the season, so it's time to score points. You know, the season's still very long. There's Indianapolis with 100 points. Laguna is going to be 100 points, so we're still in the picture. It's way too early to look at that, but you have to be smart and wise sometimes.
Like what he said there, Kelly, we unlocked something with our team today. Hopefully Simon Pagenaud getting a little momentum going into the month of May.
Well, Felix Rosenqvist was the top rookie on the day, and Felix made a couple moves early to get inside that top 10. Then it looked like it was pretty much just smooth sailing for you in this team. How much more was there, though, for you in this race?
Yeah, I think it was a result of a kind of poor qualifying again after my crash in
in the fast 12, so that was a big lesson for the weekend. Yeah, had some good stuff in the beginning of the race there. It felt kind of racy on the reds, and I think we were quick, but it was just, you know, actually everyone in the top 10 drove so quick today. Like, it was quali lap after quali lap out there, and you could see like everyone around me, including myself, we were like scratching the walls everywhere, and it was tough. So it wasn't smooth sailing for sure. It was tough, but yeah, you know, you cannot really do much when you get into that rhythm, that train. It becomes kind of static, and yeah, unfortunately we couldn't get a better result. But again, some points, and that's what we need on days like this.
Sure, 2 straight top 10 finishes now. Is that something to build off now as we look ahead to the month of May?
Yeah, you know, honestly, like my target coming to this weekend was a podium, and I think maybe I've been a bit too hard on myself, and maybe tried too hard at occasions this weekend. I've been in the escape roads a couple of times through practice, qualifying, and yeah, I sort of took it a notch down in the race and tried to finish this one, and then, you know, build again for Indy GP, where I think I've driven there in Indy Lights, and it was a good track for me, so kind of look forward to, you know, start from the beginning there again, and, you know, sort of forget this weekend.
All right, we look forward to seeing you there. Thank you, Felix. Kevin?
Takuma Sato's first IndyCar win was here at Long Beach, and his last win was just last week at Barber. Today, start 8th, finish 8th. Any dramas? What was your day like?
It was a tough race, really. I mean, honestly, I couldn't do anything on track. I tried to catching Simon, and I think it was a good battle through the first and second stint. I thought we tried to undercut on the next stop, and then I think our stop was a little bit slow, so I think instead I think we lost the place from the wheel. That was a little shame. Honestly, on track, I tried everything I could, but I just couldn't fast enough to overtake the guys.
So next up is Indianapolis, first on the road course, but first up, though, is the Oval, a test on the 24th. As a former winner at Indianapolis, what kind of momentum and what kind of confidence do you take into it every time you go back?
Well, we are excited about it. You know, going to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway is such a special moment, and especially I think 2019 Reho team is really coming up and up. I think continuous working from last year. I mean, last year we had a tough season, you know, Pole Run was good. But other than that, it was tough, especially for the Super Speedway. But now I think we had a quite good ideas, and we have a new concept, and hopefully that's going to work. And it's definitely from a Barber, and today both of the cars in top 10, so I think we carried a good momentum.
It's going to be fun. Most of the field is going to be there April 24th, streaming on IndyCar.com, by the way, as well as we get set for the 103rd Indianapolis 500 diff.
Kev, thanks. Taku, with that 8th place result, remains in the top 4. He does drop a spot from 3rd to 4th, but look at that. Alexander Rossi. First track, by the way, he's won on 2 occasions. Nothing like coming back to a track that you've had success on before as recently as the previous year, and then you do it all again. Pole position, victory lane, 2 years in succession to notch up Andretti Autosport's 200th team victory. And the drivers get so much of the attention, but this really is a team sport, and we pay credit to the team, the winning crew of the 27 Napa Auto Parts Honda.
That Poncherello there on the right front.
Yeah.
Well done.
This is just terrific. Being a kid who grew up in California, then went off to Europe and spent so many years overseas, to come home, he wasn't sure that IndyCar was really his scene. That was his victory, but this was one of the more controversial moments of the race.
And race control intervened here, and I think they might want to take another look, because Graham Rahal definitely moved first. You're allowed to proactively defend. He moved first to driver's right. Dixon followed shortly thereafter, but watch this here. Exit corner, there goes Graham, then Dixon goes. I don't think that's a block. I think Graham should have held the podium.
I finally agree with you, Townsend. I think that wasn't a good call. I think Graham had a right to be more upset than what he was, and this, I feel, is a little bit of a gift to Scott Dixon.
So third place, if you just joined us, third place was stripped from Graham Rahal and awarded to Scott Dixon. That's why the 5-time champ is standing there on the podium with Alexander Rossi and Joseph Newgarden. And Dixon slips from second to third in the championship points. Rossi, the man in the middle there, leapfrogs his way into second in the championship points.
Well, I gotta say, today my crystal ball was clear to quite clear, because it went exactly as Alexander Rossi had planned. He just took off at the start and controlled it just like he did last year.
Unfortunately for Scott Dixon, who hoped to challenge that fuel flow issue on the pit stop, really took the chance out of his hands. He was lucky to come home on the podium.
This was a tough day for the rookies. They've featured this year so far, but the best rookie, Felix Rosenqvist, in 10th. Pato O'Ward a lap down in 12th, and the story goes on from there with Colton Herder. A big crash into the turn 9 wall and out, finishing 23rd and last.
Well, most of the rookies made some big mistakes. Ericsson with the contact early, had the penalty. Ferrucci went off in the overrun. Colton with the accident you already talked about. Rosenqvist with the qualifying accident. So the veterans flexing some muscle and some experience today, and it's veterans at the top of the points.
Alexander Rossi did exactly what he needed to do. Now he's in the championship fight. We got a little short break in racing, but they're going to be testing flat out as we go into the month of May.
Yeah, April 24, after the Speedway test, we look forward to the Grand Prix of Indianapolis in 3 weeks' time. Looking forward to that. And the championship gets more and more intriguing, but one thing doesn't change, and that is Team Penske's Joseph Newgarden at the top and very much in control with a really well-constructed opening 4 races of this season. A reminder again, coming up next, it's Stanley Cup playoffs, and it's Tampa Bay at Columbus, Game 3. Columbus leads 2-0. And a reminder, May 11, again, May 11, at 3 Eastern. That is for the IndyCar Grand Prix of Indianapolis. Really looking forward to that. Congratulations to Andretti Autosport. Congratulations, Alexander Rossi. 2 wins, 2 years.